This is a clouds weather alert. Good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud coming in the air right now with a severe thunderstorm warning situation. We have multiple polygons here, just tracking them across the area at this hour, seeing them all pop up in the last 15 minutes or so toward our viewing circle. There was one north of the area here as we were getting a little bit earlier on in the hour, but now I see in 3 severe thunderstorm warnings, including parts of our area here, all coming on those, boards here just in the last little bit. I see in a situation where the lightning number is just continuously gone higher and higher. Now 925 strikes in the past 15 minutes. Not a severe criteria. We were in the 500 range there in the last hour, but now seeing the wind potential come into play as well. Seeing things really erupt at noon. We didn't really have anything on the radar, and an hour later, getting the storms going. And now an hour after that, we have severe warnings here coming in very rapidly. So let me go ahead and see here what we're doing with that first warning, the one for parts of Duval County and Jacksonville there. The Weather Service there in Jacksonville issuing this for central Nassau, north central St. John's, as well as Duval and south central Charlton counties until 3:15. Remember, back to school has been, the story lately. The schools in play here are getting out around this time in some of these zones, and this could be problematic here. These storms could be problematic here at school dismissal time, these severe thunderstorms. So Jacksonville, Fernandina Beach, Callahan, Jacksonville International Airport, UNF, Arlington, Ponte Vedra Beach, Jacksonville Beach, Atlantic Beach, Yulee, all under this severe thunderstorm warning. There's now another one. We now have 4 severe thunderstorm warnings here, all coming on the board in the last, I think, 16 minutes here. If I look, no, 15 actually. 2:23 is when the first one came out, so it's 15 exactly. And now we have 4 different warnings, but we'll get to the one to the south here in a moment. You can see it getting way to the south there in north parts of Clay and St. John's further on down. But let's look at this warning right now. This is for parts of Charlton and some other zones here. So let me go ahead and read that one off. So that, again, the first one's for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. That second one also for 60-mile-an-hour wind gust potential that I'm clicking on and have clicked on here. You see this is for northern Nassau, northwestern Baker, southwestern Camden, southwestern Brantley, southeastern Ware, southeastern Clinch, and Charlton counties here until 3:15. At 2:27, severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from 6 miles west of Race Pond to 6 miles north of Needmore, moving southeast at 20 miles an hour. St. Mary's, Kingsland, Hilliard, Folkestone, Callahan, Fargo, Stephen Foster State Park, Homeland, Keens Ferry, St. George, and this. And I know the Weather Service is warning about damaging winds and continuous cloud-to-ground lightning occurring with these storms. Just move indoors immediately, as lightning is one of nature's leading killers. And remember, if you can hear thunder, you are close enough to be struck there by lightning. So that's that warning there. We have another warning north of Valdosta. The Tallahassee office has put into play. Let me read that one off to you. That one coming out here at 2:30 p.m. West Central Lanier and Northwestern Lowndes until 3:15. At 2:29, a severe thunderstorm is located near Hahira, or it looks like 8 miles southeast to Adel, moving southeast at 5 miles an hour. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail. The threats there: Lakeland, Valdosta, Hahira, Moody Air Force Base, Barrett, I-75 at exit 29, I-75 at exit 22. I just really want to move to the interior room on the lowest floor of a building. We have this warning here to the north. That's just outside of the area. Cook, Colquitt, some of those zones. But then we have this new warning here down south of, Jacksonville as it, gets further down. It doesn't include part of Jacksonville as well. But that new warning just coming out from the Weather Service since we've been on. That one here issued at 2:38 p.m. Severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Nassau, St. John's, Clay, southern Duval here at 2:38. Severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Briceville near Sawgrass, moving south at 20 miles an hour, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Talking about St. Augustine, Orange Park, Green Cove Springs, Mandarin, Fruit Cove, Middleburg, Wardcroft Village, St. Augustine Beach, Marineland, and Ortega. I know these storms developing maybe an hour or two quicker than what the models were showing here. I know what I posted earlier on. This is a few hours ahead of that in terms of the overall genesis and the overall involvement here of the process. I know just really seeing this accident get going. I mean, it just seemed like somebody, really lit a match there. Because I'll back this up. Let's back this up 3 hours together. So let me go ahead and take some of this all off here. And I am on the Jacksonville radar. I was on Valdosta for this earlier, but we'll just use Jacksonville for this example. As I'll back it up to the beginning, look, there's nothing there at 11:42, and we'll watch right at noon. There's really nothing there, and all of a sudden things just go crazy here in terms of all that lighting, and now we're up to 946 strikes there. It looks like here 892 strikes there in just the last 15 minutes. I mean, you can see how it has gone down just a tad. Or actually, okay, it looks like we're adjusting things here with the time interval there. It looks like 9:49. I mean, 9:44. It just keeps changing there as we're looking at the overall situation. That's how many strikes in the last 15 minutes, folks. I mean, a lot of those are cloud to cloud, but some of them are cloud to ground, and that can be deadly in and of itself here. So let me just show you what I'm looking at here. If you're not actually seeing that, it's kind of small on the screen. I'm not in front of the wall or anything, so it's this right here is what I'm looking at. 935 strikes here in the last 15 minutes here toward our counties, and just whatever's on the screen is what it's counting, in terms of the geography, even under the banner as well, but most of this in our counties here. This lightning, just, explosive activity this afternoon, and you get really concerned because you have kids out there that are trying to head home from school. Hopefully everybody be all right, but this is pretty dangerous here this afternoon because of that added aspect as well here. We don't always get all this lightning here as kids are trying to head home from school here like this. This is, just got to really take, precaution this afternoon as we're looking at things. Let's go ahead and zoom around here a little bit as we get into Duval County. So let's go ahead and you see this wind energy here. Let's get down to some of these streets. Let's get down in here. You see around the Caleb community with Normandy Boulevard. Seeing some wind here, maybe to 47 miles an hour. I mean, that's what you get these warnings for, but I'm concerned about the lightning, really as concerned about it as I am just the wind here, because this lightning is just everywhere, and that'd probably have a better chance of really impacting somebody or somebody's home here, potentially even, it could get struck by lightning is where I'm going with that here in the, conversation. But again, just really being very mindful. Let's say here, we'll see that this is kind of over the river here with some of this lightning. Not seeing a flooding risk, on there yet. Granted, this is moving kind of slow in some ways. I mean, in terms of this, I'm talking about flash flooding. We do have a advisory here, if you look real close on the screen in terms of that green. But, just again, that green coloration there. So, again, just trying to keep you up to date here. It's this box in here, if you can see where my mouse is. We are seeing some of that excessive rainfall, but it's not enough for like a flash flood warning. I was just showing that, one map for the St. Johns River to be able to see that better. But again, I just seeing stuff develop everywhere. It's, explosive. You'll ever see here, these storms are really getting going this afternoon. You see all this lightning. It's just everywhere here. I know this is a formal 1 out of 5 risk, but things, just really, ramping on up here very quickly. You see our 1 out of 5 risk. I posted about it this morning over on Facebook and Twitter/X, and seeing a situation here where things are really coming into play this afternoon with the overall instability. I mean, I was looking at values over 5,000 joules per kilogram in parts of our zone with those surface-based heat values. That heat's a big story. I have the heat alerts turned off, even at extreme, heat warning toward parts of southeast Georgia for tomorrow, as some of those values of the heat index combined will be even hotter. I know. Just seeing though, I mean, it's down in Jacksonville because of the rain at the airport, but otherwise, I mean, these numbers are just, really, really toasty. 95 Stark, 97 Madison, and then we'll go ahead and see the feels like temperatures. And as it is here many days in the summer, it's very swampy. This is one of the more, impactful ones, though, in terms of heat danger. If you're not getting the storms, it feels like 108 in Bainbridge, 108 in Brunswick, 108 in St. Augustine. As we go ahead and get back to the map, technically St. Augustine under a warning here. We also have wind reports now showing up in the system. So let me go ahead and click on some of these. 49 miles an hour there around Fort Caroline earlier on. 52 miles an hour there as well. And in the airport, 47 at about 2:31 p.m. So really telling that story here. Again, things are just developing in a very rampant fashion. Let's go ahead and go to the power outage information. This is a little bit over, compared to what we generally get with our summertime storms, especially with the lightning. Again, that's not an official severe criteria, but that electrical energy is just, outrageous here in terms of this account that we're seeing this afternoon. So you see just a handful of outages in a lot of these different spots. Clinton County a little bit more. And let's look over that way toward Clinton County right now. As we get on in here, I mean, you see around Homerville, they're not doing too bad now, but let's back this up. They had some lightning around, and you see the warning as it kind of retreats from there. And then we'll go over to current. We'll go over to county power outage total, and you'll be able to see there's 100 out there. It's a pretty rural county overall, 100 out in Nassau County as well. I know sometimes the other map doesn't do it, maybe, justice in some ways as well. I mean, in some ways it overdoes it too. It's just, this is a more accurate way to show it based on the actual count, I would say. So, because I use the other one sometimes though, because we don't have all the electric companies involved, in the electric service around here included. So that, can kind of, that can kind of make things a little bit better in some ways in terms of just trying to tell a story, in terms of the meteorological pattern, the meteorology here as we're looking at the overall scenario. But this here can actually give you a little bit more of those details. As we go ahead now and look here, we are watching just all this electrical energy here. We're just watching all this electrical energy here, right, toward Jacksonville, toward Duval County. Maybe a little bit of hail in here as well. That's not the biggest threat necessarily, but maybe a little bit of that in here as well. As we're looking right toward Jacksonville on Lackawanna, Normandy. You have their Cedar Hills Estate. Just all over the place. We have this very heavy rain. It's disrupting, folks headed back home from school. School started back on Monday there in Jacksonville. Now on that third day of school, we are getting just a gully washer as kids head home from school here. Cassett Avenue, Roosevelt Boulevard, San Juan Avenue, Ortega Boulevard here. Just really nasty weather coming on through here as we're looking. I know our two counties here that we're really focused on for back to school today, Union and out toward Leon. I know I had a lower rain chance for those zones at, the 3 o'clock hour, and that's holding there, thankfully. Madison, part of the county going back there as well, and then, a part of kindergarten and Laudia Bradford going back as well. But, that's kind of holding for the back to school forecast graphic. But, for other spots in the area, it is not a fun picture here. As we look at the overall meteorology, I'm going to switch over to Jacksonville radar again. Just trying to look in here. You see all this wind energy as well around the Intended Park area there. Ricker Road again. This is some really nasty wind, but the lightning again concerns me even more in some ways because that's something you just don't know. I mean, you might not know the wind's coming out of there, but the lightning is so, just here and there. One strike can be, very tragic here. So just got to be very mindful of that as we're looking at the overall pattern, the overall picture. So again, we have warnings all over the place. A new warning now for Valdosta. So we now have, I think that makes 5 warnings in our area now. Again, things are just going crazy here this afternoon with all these warnings. Again, I mean, not that this is, a tornado setup or anything, but for summertime, this may end up being one of our more, extended type of coverage days here. Just as how things go, even in a marginal risk, things are just coming together in terms of the meteorology, meteorologically here, they're coming together for sure. So let's go ahead and see here. Southern Lanier Lounge until 3:45 at 2:48. A severe thunderstorm was located near Moody Air Force Base or near Valdosta, moving southeast at about 10 miles an hour. Lake Park, Valdosta, Lakeland, Moody Air Force Base, I-75 at exit 16, Remerton, Dasher, Naylor, Twin Lakes, as well as Greenwood, Valdosta Airport, Hansel, Kinderloo, I-75 at exit 5, Clyattville, I-75 at exit 11, I-75 exit 22 in Stockton. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, penny-size hail, both possibilities here. Moving southeast at 10 miles an hour. This severe thunderstorm as we're looking there in toward parts of south central Georgia. Just seeing accent all over the place. Again, we have 5 warnings here in our area right now. Again, things have developed so rapidly. Just all the available moisture. Just going through here, let's look at the Vedasta radar because that'll give us the better vantage point on this. And you'll be able to see here winds of 44. You can kind of see here just all that wind energy. Let's pull up some of the roads here in this area. So we'll be able to see here on Lakeland Highway, just that overall area, Bemis Road, New Bethel Road. Again, seeing a lot of that wind energy here in terms of, what we're seeing on the echoes with the radar pictures. So again, we have this, numerous, warnings here on the board. I'm not trying to overhype it. It's just that's the reality right now. We have 5 warnings. We have this warning up here. Let me make sure I'm clicking on this right. That's till 3:15. This one's till 3:45. Then we have this warning out here towards southeast Georgia till 3:15. This warning here is I need to switch radars. I know it's going to cover this up for a second, but I need to switch radars here. So we have the warning for Duval until 3:15. That extends down some here. But then this one goes quite a bit further down until 3:15 as well. So again, we just have a lot on the radar here to talk about that's developed into severe, type of activity potentially very quickly. So again, let's check some more information. Let's go ahead and get on in here. You can see all this wind, 35. I mean, these don't look crazy in terms of these numbers, but again, just so much on the board. I mean, 970 lightning strikes here the last 15 minutes. This is just some wild stuff. 973 last 15 minutes as we look here at the overall view. You're seeing all this action here in Duval County on the south side of town. Argyle Forest, Chimney Lakes. Let's go ahead and put the roads back up. As we go back on over here, we're going to put these roads in here. Collins Road, Ricker Road, Blandon Boulevard. Again, you see the Beauclair area getting into this there around Scott Mill Road. Again, San Jose Boulevard, Sunbeam Road. Again, we have 5 severe thunderstorm warnings on our screen at this hour in the local area. There's 6 technically on the screen. It's just one of those is not our area there, part of the 38 counties. I'm going to remind you guys of our 38 counties here as I give you that look at things. I know Cook County, that area not quite in our area anymore as we, enhanced things here earlier on. But there's 6 on the screen, but technically, but 5, are in our viewing circle. So again, just continuing to give you guys the very latest here on the situation. Right here around Valdosta, some heavy rain, some gusty winds, Charter Oaks, Forest Place, Lakeland Forest there. Again, these are, severe storms are not something above that, like tornadic or anything. It's just, we have so many of them developing right here when kids are getting out of school. You just got to be really, really cognizant here of the overall situation. So you have Pineview Drive. We have just these different spots here. You see up toward the North Lakeland Highway. Again, we have severe thunderstorm warning up in there. Into Duval, south side of town. I know we can just keep jumping all over the place here on the maps. Let me see if we have any questions, comments from anybody here. I'm going to jump to the other computer, then I'm going to check cameras. We have quite a few comments here. Thomas Watson, Fire Trains Watson, Danielle Watson. Looks like we have, if you were there from the Folkestone area, hearing some of those rumbles of thunder as well. A Top Cat tuning on in. Official RY Nirvana in Duval County driving right now. Stuck in the storm, just lightning there. It's filled with that electrical energy. John there near Kernan Boulevard in Jacksonville. So again, just got to be really mindful here of the overall situation this afternoon. We have the, storm activity coming together here. Let me go ahead and try to get the cameras on up. Let me go ahead and see what we can kind of find here. We're going to get some of these cameras up into toward the south side of Jacksonville to see how things are We'll try to get near the Naval Air Station maybe with one of these. See, or maybe even, I-295 area, the St. Johns River as well, the Buckman Bridge. I mean, doesn't look too bad there yet. So let me go a little north then. No, it's quite a bit worse toward 103rd Street. So let me go ahead and pull up one of these cameras here. Just a moment with this, I'll have it up. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in, trusting me. Appreciate your viewership. Let me go ahead and pull this on in here under the traffic source. Again, telling that other story. You see just the rainfall there coming on down. Rough conditions here on this Wednesday afternoon. It's August 12th, 2026. Just not what we want to deal with, obviously. See some of that electrical energy, that lightning around. That's really the biggest concern here. Just lightning all over the place. And I'm really concerned that with people getting out of school here, at this time frame, somebody could get struck here, and this, could be, a very serious situation. So again, I mean, we have almost 1,000 strikes here in the area in the last 15 minutes. That is unbelievable in terms of the count here. I don't remember all summer it being that high toward our area. So we really need to be very mindful of this. Just, in the last 15 minutes, about 1,000 lightning strikes there. A lot of them are cloud to cloud, but some of them could be cloud and are definitely cloud to ground here. Don't have the exact number on that. So that's, those are the ones we worry about here this afternoon. So let's get back over this, this just this frame here. We have 169 last 15, but for the area, we have way more. We have way more here. I mean, I know we have these severe warnings. It's not a severe criteria, the lightning there. But that's what I'm most concerned about. So we just got to be very cognizant. We have a viewer there watching, not quite sure how to say that. Or let's see, Dad AMS. Okay. I think that's what that's saying there. Appreciate you tuning on in. We also have Fire Larry Trains. Some of the storm accident wrapping up right now in Bainbridge with just some clouds there. So again, just appreciate everybody tuning on in with the overall scenario. Just appreciate everybody tuning on in here on this Wednesday, on this August 12th, 2026 here. Appreciate everybody's viewership. I'm going to get back over to the radar here and track some things. So I'm going to sit back down here at the weather computer. I'm going to sit back over here now and zoom back out. Looks like our one warning went away here in between. So that's good. And let's go ahead and see what we have. I'm going to take this off. We're going to kind of get back over to radar mode. And the other one got trimmed back a little bit as well. So let's see what the Weather Service is saying about a couple of these. As things are going very, quickly here. Let me see what we have. Okay, the warning for Baker, as well as parts of Nassau, southwestern Camden, southeastern Ware, and southeastern Clinton, even into Charlton counties is canceled. The storm accident up in here, which prompted that Roy has exited the warned area. Some gusty winds and heavy rain still possible. So they've also, they're saying not just the exited the warned area there, but it's also really just a weekend below the severe limit here. I mean, some part of the warned area has moved out, parts of the box, but in, areas that still remain, it had weakened some. So again, the lightning, that impacts our biggest concern here this afternoon. I mean, look, just in this frame, 7:34, we're now over 1,000 folks in the last 15 minutes. I mean, I'll tilt this to see, because there's a few of those that wouldn't be quite our area. I mean, we'll zoom in a little bit here. I mean, but it's got to be, I mean, I can't count it exactly. Maybe just under 1,000 in our area, but it's close. You have all the heat danger coming up too. I have all that kind of turned off for now because I'd just be too busy on the map. But again, that's helping to fuel some of this activity being so rampant here this afternoon. So let's go ahead and tilt this here. We're going to go ahead and zoom back on in. You see 49, you have 46. I'm going to lose an hour with some of that wind there. Blandon Boulevard, Roosevelt Boulevard. You see the overall situation. Some of this wind here, again, that's not, quite as severe. It's just, again, all this lightning here. That's not a severe criteria, but it's something we got to take very seriously here with, kids getting out of school. Whether it's, some districts are a little different with the times, but whether it's elementary, middle, high, just the after-school programs here, different counties, different, situations, different schools, even different time frames. But just overall, this is not an ideal scenario here, first week of school, to have this accident be this significant looking on the Doppler, developing as quickly as it did. We tried about it in the 1 o'clock hour some, but still, it developed a little ahead of schedule here, to be completely honest. But that's how things have been going here lately. Granted, we never can always get these just right here with the overall forecast. But we'll go back. Let's go back 2 hours here. It was already kind of there, but then I'll go back. This is current, but now 3 hours, there's nothing there. So we'll go and walk through this here with the different increments. That's the current frame. But let's go ahead and walk through this. You just see how things just erupted here on the Doppler this afternoon. Just absolutely came into play here, just with the overall meteorological pattern. Seeing all the energy, all the moisture around here is so humid. And just seeing things get going here. And then we saw the yellow boxes pop up. We had, at one point there, I think it was 5 in our area, 6 total. We now have, a little lower number than that. Looks like we have 2, 3, I guess it's still be 4 to just trim back quite a bit, on some of these. So again, just trying to keep you guys up to date here on the overall scenario. Just trying to keep you guys updated on the overall scenario the best I can. You see more lightning there in the ward areas just southeast of Fargo. Around Valdosta. Some wind enhancement here. Maybe winds about 50 again. I'm not seeing anything overwhelming for severe, quote unquote. It's just all this lightning out here is just what, and being back to school period. Everybody in that new routine, we're just getting all this action here on the Doppler with the electrical nature of things that really concerns me. So again, you see some burst of wind energy, maybe though around Davis Lane, sure, but all this lightning is a big concern. Let's go ahead and we'll go over 6-hour rainfall. Really, I don't need to do that. I'll just say 3. It's going to be the same totals here, but we have some here showing up with the accumulation of about 1/2 inch so far, but more just north of our area there. Some of that spot's already a few inches. And then we'll switch over to Jacksonville. Let's do it from this vantage point. You see all the lightning, but then we've already had a couple inches here in spots. I'm going to switch over to road profile here. As you see around Normandy there, around Lane Avenue. See 2.12 inches there, pretty quick. Gully washer type of rainfall. It's still coming down in these areas as well. Around Ramona Boulevard there. Again, just trying to keep you up to date the best I can. Again, the lightning is our biggest headline. If I had a, risk graphic up, lightning would be a very high risk here, is what I'm talking about this afternoon, because we don't see this very much for just our area. Sometimes you'll see the number up here really high, and it'll include stuff, way outside of the area. This is mostly just for our area here, folks. That is an unbelievable number, and that's not, over the last few hours. That's over the last 15 minutes. 1,046 lightning strikes here, 1,053 here, just on this screen in terms of what geographical locations are included. And, you know, a lot of those cloud to cloud, so we're not too concerned about those in general. But, you know, cloud to ground, you know, those are the problems, you know, as we're looking here. Those are the problem strikes. I mean, you're still going to hear the rumbles from cloud to cloud, but cloud to ground, those can be deadly. Those can be deadly here as we're looking at the overall situation here. The electrical energy is just, you know, really, you know, it's just wild and not in a good way. So trying to, you know, use all the adjectives I can to describe that lightning counter. I mean, it says, you know, how you ever see around here, especially, I mean, into August, you would kind of want to see this, as school gets back in, not be as big of an issue. We're seeing a little bit of wind enhancement here. That might be getting closer to severe around Greenland Road into where Jackson might actually have, you know, some damage there in terms of the wind, not just maybe lightning issues, but maybe wind damage here possible around Southside Boulevard and Greenland Road there. So just watching some of these higher pixels, that's severe criteria, and I'm going to do something. So we're going to put on our flood risk. Just wanted to see the topography in here. You know, I'm not for the flooding, but you see all these roads coming together here. Let's put our highway indicator on 95 and 295 coming together where we could have some 58-mile-an-hour winds. So, again, that's not what we want to see here as we're looking at the overall scenario. In fact, let me see if I can get a camera up from that area. Just going to broaden this just a little bit here as we're kind of looking at things. Again, just trying to updo the very best I can here on the overall view. And so where I-95 and 295 come together as we're looking there towards southeast Duval County. Let's see if I can get a camera up over there. I see AJ watching there on YouTube as well. Appreciate you tuning on in. Let me go ahead. See what we can get in terms of a camera maybe. Looks like some of these are still shots now, so they might have had some issues with them. Okay, this one might be working. And it is nasty. Oh, goodness. Let's go ahead and get this up. Let's get this up as quick as we can here in the traffic system. This is I-295 west at I-95 south. These are some very strong winds. It looks like people are struggling here to drive in these rapidly evolving weather conditions. Again, this is where I'm seeing a 58-mile-an-hour wind pixel on the radar. This is live, folks. This is some of the strongest wind we've shown here all summer. As we're looking at these heavy downpours coming on in with this wind, you know, maybe the severe criteria. So, again, we're looking here right now in toward parts of Duval County. Again, this is a Florida 5-1 look at things here. This is in toward southeast Duval County. This is some wild imagery. This is live, and we're seeing this here around Greenland Road, around I-295 west there, at I-95 south. Again, a severe thunderstorm coming on through there. Just really nasty, nasty weather around Phillips Highway. So again, this is a live look here at the situation. You see folks really struggling there with these winds. 50 miles an hour showing up on the Doppler radar there. Again, I'm thinking most of the area, you know, with these warnings, we're seeing, you know, a lot of lightning and some wind, but maybe not quite as severe. It may be the severe in toward this pocket, though, in toward southeastern Duval County. So again, this is very just wicked weather here, you know, trying to use, again, all the adjectives I can to describe this. Again, these are, you know, live images that I've been showing you here. This one, a live, you know, viewpoint here from the Florida Department of Transportation camera, I-295 west at I-95 south. So really, you know, shows people just struggling there in this type of weather, trying to, you know, really switch roads here and the like in these type of conditions. So again, just trying to give you guys the very latest here. Again, just trying to update you. Looking slightly better now, but you know, see it went from 58 to 30 in that pixel area there. Again, just trying to update you. Let's see if we can get some of the cameras up in the region. I'm going to try to effort some more. Some of them are down, it looks like. Let's go I-95 north of Old St. Augustine Road. See a traffic back up there. Again, just going to keep efforting some different things here. I'm going to go ahead, go back over to the radar view. This is where some of the strongest wind is, moved to now, around Greenland Ridge Lane. See 58 out there now. You saw how it's kind of going east. If I can get a camera up in that area there, that'd be helpful. But eventually we're going to kind of, move away from where some of these cameras are probably. I'm going to look here on the other source. Just a one-man band, but it's all about trying to give you the latest. I-295 east at State Road 9B. Don't see a lot of traffic there right now. But we'll pull this camera up. There's a vehicle going through. See them here and there. It's pretty rough. Not, just that one view we had, in the one really, scenario there was really dramatic when we first got to it, but it has weakened some the winds in that surrounding zone. As we kind of held on it there. Again, trying to update you. Let me see if there's any more questions, comments from any of the viewers at home. Don't see any right now, anything new, but just appreciate everybody tuning on in and trusting me. Appreciate everybody's viewership. Things developing just a little quicker here than what the models were showing. I mean, it can do that. The convection around here, it's just obviously it's something where the models just, A444 I'm talking about in general had trouble initializing things in terms of the overall pattern. It was initializing things too late. Got a new warning in here now. See a boundary coming off of this too, which, I gotta wonder, hopefully eventually with all this getting going as early as it is, we're gonna see these wrap up a little earlier than maybe we were thinking too, but we'll see. We have a lot of heat out there today to work with, so let me go ahead and see what this new, warning information is, really telling us here. Okay, the National Weather Service in Jackson was issued a severe thunderstorm warning for St. Johns County, northeastern Putnam, Clay, and southern Duval counties there as well. So at 3:13, severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from Oakley Plantation to near Volano Beach, moving south at 25 miles an hour. Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Orange Park, Green Cove Springs, Hastings, as well as Mandarin, Fruit Cove, Middleburg, Goff Village, and St. Augustine Beach, potentially being impacted here as we're looking at the overall scenario. So, again, just tracking things here, and it's in terms of tracking. Let me go ahead and put a track on this. South at 25 miles an hour is what we're really doing with. So, let me go ahead and kind of show this to you. We'll track this on out here. I know I kind of was a little more specific maybe than I needed to be, but you see Green Cove Springs there. I'm talking about in terms of the tracker, in terms of how I drew it. But 322 Green Cove Springs, 351 Penny Farms, Hastings at 404. So that's kind of what we're dealing with there. We got the stuff around Valdosta. You got a lot of lightning there on I-75 in north parts of Lowndes County there. You see Twin Lakes, you see Lake Park there. We have this severe thunderstorm warning until 3:45 p.m. Just continuing to update you. Into Lanier County as well. There's heat advisories on the board as we look even in tomorrow. It's got to be a cognizant of, obviously. Looks like officially it might be down to 2 warnings in our area right now, but again, that doesn't mean, does not mean that we're in all clear, especially with the lightning that's being so, rampant here. But the wind across the St. Johns River, 57 miles an hour. Definitely noteworthy there. So again, just continuing to update you. I'll check power outages because, some of that, that I'm going to show you, maybe because, of the wind, but some of it because of the lightning potentially. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump on over here to our other mode. We're going to go to currents. We're going to go to county power outage total. We don't have any showing up in Duval right now, which is a surprise. We'll see if that changes though. 900 out in Lowndes County there in north, south, central Georgia. Let me see if JEA's power outage map is showing any in the dark. Let me go ahead and check over there. Just bear with me. It does look like there's some on that. Let's see what the number looks like. 594 customers in the dark on Jacksonville's electric there, Roy, their company for that area of Duval County. Again, giving you guys the very latest here. Just looking through some of the different tools here in the toolkit. Temperature's still warm in spots here that, haven't gotten the storm activity. And let's go to storm reports. I know we get some different indicators, but 44 miles an hour NAS jacks. Some of these we were already looking at, but let's get up to Valdosta because we had some showing up in that area as well. 41, 43, 43 miles an hour. And we have our warning at 3:45 for different portions of the area. Just whenever thunder roars, you want to go indoors. Lightning can strike miles away from apparent storm. We'll see the eruption of this on the infrared satellite. Just look how quick everything came together here. You can kind of see the genesis of stuff, and I'll need to double check this. We had stuff, toward Tennessee last night get into play, and you can kind of see how he had redevelopment along some of that as that wave of energy was kind of coming on in here. I kind of thought I might have had a, really roll in all this, and sure enough, you can tell that on our infrared satellite. See how that kind of faded, but then seeing a re-eruption here, we have all this daytime heating around, and here you go. Let's go ahead and see what we have in terms of Futurecast. Again, it's not really doing a great job. It's been developing things too late, but let me go ahead and keep looking at some information. North of our area around Colquitt County's community of Ellington, a tree was downed earlier on. I know around Tallahassee, we're still seeing instability around 5,000 joules per kilogram. So we're going to have to see how things kind of evolve. But let me see if we have more questions, comments, it looks like here. Appreciate the kind words there from our viewer. Yeah, I'm really just trying to do my best here to, cover the area, as we look at the overall situation. And then wondering, a viewer is, kind of commenting that maybe we'll have a new warning toward areas in southeast Georgia soon. Let me go ahead and look at the Doppler to see if that's a possibility. Let me go ahead and go up there. We haven't looked up there too much here lately. There's some wind energy in here. 36. Right now it's an advisory. They have not upgraded anything to a warning up here right now, but that could change. That's quite a bit of wind for a small looking storm like that. I mean, we're looking pretty high up, but again, just trying to update you. Trying to keep you informed here on the overall scenario as we get there on Old Post Road, a Wild Boar Road. Interesting name there. Go ahead and zoom back out. 51 miles an hour, 49 miles an hour there with some of the wind. Some of the wind energy still went on up here on the velocity mode. That report I was referencing there north of the area. Let me put up regular radar, but we had a tree down there earlier on to the north. And we'll look, toward Charlton County, some strong storm action here in toward areas around southeast Georgia, but right now, really south central Georgia and then northeast Florida is where we have the warnings on the board here at this point. Again, things, can shift around pretty rapidly. I mean, you have heat advisories, of course, but then, all these yellow boxes, we had 5 of them at one point here for parts of our area. You saw some of the action there toward, like, Folkestone, it was coming through, and then as we had some of this kind of get closer into ward areas there, like around Hilliard, it really faded with the overall situation, even for Folkestone. I mean, you can kind of see here how more of it was going off toward the west there in terms of what's actually held together, but with the overall energy, in terms of the electrical nature of things. Again, just a precipitory tuning on in. Looking at some of these winds here right now. State Road 13. Nocatee Parkway there, you see southeast Duval County. The latest scan now pushing some of this more toward the Durban area. Into St. Johns County, you see winds 47 miles an hour showing up. Again, the lightning's still the bigger story, even though I'm showing you where some of the strongest winds are. Definitely can knock down trees here and there, especially what we were seeing to 58 miles an hour a little while ago. But, we get this boundary here coming off like this. You'll be able to see our lightning counter. It's going down, so we're starting to see some weakening, I think, with that wind potential in here with this cluster as well, which is great news, obviously. Some cool air being pushed out. That's what we like to see. That's really becoming apparent there on our lightning counter because we were sitting there. I mean, some of that's talking about it's up to the north too, but we were sitting way higher with this. I mean, almost around 600 now into the 300 range there in the last 15. So it's showing some signs of weakening, which is what we want to see. But broaden it out, I mean, that count is not a weak count there at all. As we do have just lightning on the board overall. I mean, some of these, sometimes when you have there's so much activity here on the Doppler, it can kind of, affect the other storms in terms of not letting them get quite as, strong in nature and lead us to not having, just warnings all over the place here, or even having warnings eventually. Granted, we could have to watch out for some, more urban flooding threats here as we look ahead, small streams at the poor drainage areas here, as we've already seen a couple inches here, parts of Duval County. So as we look on in here around, it looks like Cassett Avenue, Roosevelt Boulevard. You see our severe thunderstorm warning, but you see some flood advisory information as well. It's not as heavy now. It's just a situation, though. We got to watch some of that stuff to the north. It looks like it's fading there, too, as it comes on in. But still, with that amount of rain, it might make it, take a little longer. Where we've had some of these flood advisories, take a little longer for some of that water to really go down here. If you're getting light to moderate rain back over that advisory covered area. So it's a good thing that it's weakening there to the north, because if that was still holding together, that really, could get us close to a flash flood warning there. I know in parts of Duval County, but I don't necessarily think that'll be needed. We'll have to watch some of this stuff kind of popping up as we look here. You see some of this wind, a little burst of wind energy here on Lake Park. I'm just trying to give you the very latest information here. Let's see some of these stronger winds in there. A lot of lighting in the coastal waters here off of Brunswick, so that's, more about concern for marine interest. Let me read off a special marine warning. We don't read them off very much. I'm just going to kind of at least read off some of the precautionary information out of the special marine warning out there. Just, because again, we want to just, make sure we're covering everybody here. And so the Weather Service is warning there, with the marine warning. I'll go ahead and click on that so you guys know what I'm talking about here, because I don't normally read off this stuff in the Weather Service, but they're just saying move to safe harbor immediately, as gusty winds and high waves are expected. If your vessel is caught offshore, immediately secure, for heavy weather. Ensure all crew members are wearing the USCG approved Type 1 life jackets. There are non-essential crews or below deck. Below the different decks, there are deployed jack lines and harnesses, if available. And then just check life-saving equipment, including batteries on handheld radios for readiness. Thunderstorms also can produce sudden waterspouts. So waterspouts can easily overturn boats and create locally hazardous seas. Seek safe harbor immediately if your vessel is caught offshore. Immediately secure, for that heavy weather. Ensure all crew members are wearing those USCG. I'm not used to reading these marine statements, marine warnings, by the way. But, wearing those USCG approved Type 1 life jackets, and non-essential crew are below decks. There, just deploy those jack lines and harnesses if available. They're kind of repeating this a little bit, but just check, for that life-saving equipment there for the readiness from the storm activity. So, again, some of that kind of gets repeated twice there because they're talking about waterspout potential too with this. But, as we get out toward the coastal waters off of southeast Georgia. But as we get back over land here, for the most part, we have the St. Johns River down here as well. We're going to go ahead and look at the latest information here. You see some of this wind around White's Ford, Elwood, St. John's Parkway. Just looking at some of these different pixels in here, 51, 36. Those look less, they look lower than what we were seeing earlier on. That seems to be weakening. Let's look out here. Some of this looks, strong but not severe. I'll click on this 37 miles an hour. That's near the Columbia, county line that's over here. But it's also, we have Baker County, and then we have in towards southeast Georgia, of course, parts of Ware County, and near that line as well with some of that wind energy. Again, just trying to update you. Getting this cool air being pushed out, which I think is going to I mean, it's going to cause other storms to develop too, but some of the existing storms that we've been tracking are going to kind of fade. And then that may, allow us to see all the warnings go away. Then we might wrap for a little bit, depending on how things go, because we do have a formal show at 5:30. Those weekday 5:30 shows that, I have here giving you guys the latest on that full forecast. We'll just see how it goes. But I know you have the interactive radar, clutter.com/radar for an interactive look at things when we're not on. But we still got a little ways to go with these severe warnings right now. There's still on the board a couple of them, one from each office. Tallahassee for Lowndes there to 345, and then down in here to 345 from the Jacksonville office as well. So again, a lot of lightning though. I mean, that's not really going away. I mean, some of that's more water there, because it's counting that too. Some of it's more north of our area, because there's now a new warning, by the way, north of our area. We used to cover up there, remember, but we don't cover up in this area anymore. But this is a warning there out over parts of Dougherty County and Calhoun and Baker and Georgia there. I know part of the reason we don't cover, some of these areas in Georgia anymore, not the whole reason, but part of it is, I mean, we have Baker in Florida. It's getting kind of confusing. We were covering a Baker, Georgia, and a Baker, Florida, Clay, Georgia, Clay, Florida. We won't cover any of the duplicates anymore like that. We also don't even cover Seminole, Georgia there, which is over down in here, just west of where we do cover Bainbridge and further over. That it got a little confusing between FSU, the Knolls, and then there's a Seminole County in Florida. We don't cover them, but it can get a little confusing sometimes. So trying to avoid some of that confusion by some of the different things we've done here over the last several months, partly the reason I kind of enhanced the viewing area there the way I did. But I'll remind you guys of the coverage map. Let me remind you guys of the 30 counties here as we kind of update you the best we can. Again, you see where I do cover the 38. We used to cover 62, but 38 counties always on for any tornado warning storm moving through. And since we've, had the Spirit upgrade, really trying to be on for all the severe thunderstorm warnings as well here. And take those, very seriously as well, even though sometimes, they're not overwhelming. A lot of times they're not overwhelming, but sometimes they can definitely, put out impacts, we got to take them very seriously. So let's get back over to the Doppler here. Again, just trying to update you. See a lot of this wind kind of pushing into North Florida there. And it does not seem like we have a new warning, so that's good. That's good as we're looking at that situation. We're just going to keep watching the trends though. Going to keep watching the overall trends. Just trying to inform you the best I can. Trying to be here for you. This just looks a little stronger here. Just a bit, maybe. Again, just trying to keep you informed the best I can. Just looking through here, 51 miles an hour. See a handful of power outages here on the board. Let's show it this way. 500 out in Duval, 100 in Nassau, 100 in Baker. And over Lowndes County, we have 2,000 in the dark. I mean, we had to, focus on some of the stuff further east is, more so than this because it was in Duval and right there in the metro. But it seemed like this caused quite a bit of an issue there in the Ward of Adost area as well. I mean, maybe some burst of wind energy. I mean, some of those greens and reds coming together makes me think that maybe we had some downburst there as we were looking at the overall situation. I mean, the Storm Prediction Center did kind of warn about this in their mesoscale discussion earlier on. Now, they did not go with a severe thunderstorm watch. There wasn't enough, confidence and about the widespread coverage of things. But what they were saying earlier on in the mesoscale discussion, I'll kind of read off some of their terminology here as we kind of look at the overall scenario. Let me kind of go through this here. Just trying to keep you up to date. See if I can find that here. Going back to some of the information on my different devices. Just appreciate everybody tuning on in. I'm gonna check a different source here real quick. Just checking here. Talking about intense wet microbursts. They're capable of some damage and wind gust here. Is what the Weather Service, the Storm Prediction Centers. Okay. So let me just clarify things here. The Weather Service, of course, we have the Weather Service, and then those are the local offices. Storm Prediction Center. They're talking about that wet microburst potential here earlier on in the mesoscale discussion. So let me see if there's any more questions, comments here. Danielle Watson talking about some rain in northern Thomas County. Some high echo tops. Seems like they're in the north-southeast Georgia around Glenn County. Some nasty light in the Fruit Cove area. So again, just continue to watch things. Some stronger storm acts and maybe toward Brooks and Thomas. So let's go ahead and look at that there on the Doppler. You see we have a new advisory there coming into play for that zone. Not enough for severe, but special weather statement, in play for parts of Brooks and Thomas. Looks like some wind over here as well. So looking from the Vedasta radar, some gustier winds there, northeast of Lockney. Again, just trying to keep you up to date here, going between some of our different sources. Just appreciate everybody's viewership here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here on Elwood, on Silverleaf Parkway. Looks like winds of 48 miles an hour, give or take. Remember, we're looking at lofts, so these may not be translating. They aren't going to be translating exactly like this down toward the surface, but something to keep in mind. Again, that heat's going to be a big story here as we look ahead. I mean, it's already a big one, but it's going to be even bigger tomorrow. We have marine warnings, we have heat advisories, but there's actually extreme heat warning for tomorrow in north parts of southeast Georgia as well. Again, just scrubbing between some of this. Let me see if we have any updates. So this one's probably going away toward Valdosta based on it, already being mostly out of the box. I don't see an update yet, but let me check the other one. Well, they're continuing it for now. So let's get back down here. Read this off. A 338 is a severe thunderstorm cluster located there from near Middleburg to near St. Augustine. I mean, really, it's a little bit further east of Middleburg, really, when you look at the map. They used it in nomenclature, but really, I would say more like Green Cove Springs on over. But you kind of get the idea, moving south there at 25 miles an hour. We're talking about St. Augustine, Green Cove Springs, Hastings, Ward Golf Village, St. Augustine Beach, Marineland there, Nocatee, Durbin, Volano Beach, and Piccolata. So just for your protection, move to that interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Again, just trying to update you here. trying to be very mindful. I know this is really off topic, but 19 years from today, I know we can't, really forecast the weather that far ahead in terms of what's going to happen in terms of the overall details. But 19 years from today, there's going to be a solar eclipse here where part of our area will be in the path of totality. So we sure hope, the weather will hold out 19 years from today. That's going to be an extraordinary experience for our viewing circle here with that as we're looking at the overall storyline. I have a graphic actually I put out on social media about that this morning. I know that's again not the focus, but just reminder that even this far out we can tell you we got to always watch the weather this time of year because things can definitely have an impact on. Because we have a new warning now, unfortunately, so we're going to be here with you a little longer, but it's a situation where the weather can definitely have an impact on that viewing experience. As you're making plans, probably not making many plans for that here yet. But here's that graphic that I put out on social media this morning. I know part of the country's seen a partial eclipse here. There's total one overseas, but partial here on this August 12th, 2026. But 19 years from today, part of our area, including the Tallahassee and Stark and Gainesville and Thomasville, all in that path of totality. Jacksonville's actually not, but and around Cedar Keys where it could peak out actually in terms of the time. Big time frame for that totality there as we're looking down that way. That's 19 years from today. So just thought I'd bring that up here. I hope the weather holds out then. Hope we don't have warnings all over the place 19 years from today. That's not something we're too concerned about with it all now. But just thought I'd say that in there just for a second. Unfortunately, we got a new warning, so we're going to have to be here with you a little longer now as things seemingly holding together just enough here for new warning as we're getting further down the coast. So, you see St. John's on this map here, and then you see it on this map as well with a new severe thunderstorm warning here in play. We have this new warning here in play. Although I know lightning just detected within 15 miles of where I'm at. Probably that stuff up in Baker County. Triggering that as I look at my Cloud Weather app that you guys can download there in the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store. Listed as KC Cloud Weather in the Apple App Store. It's listed as Clouds Weather in the Google Play Store. But our new severe thunderstorm warning now for parts of St. John's and parts of Flagler until 4:15 at 3:41. A severe thunderstorm is located over Ward Golf Village, or 10 miles northwest of St. Augustine, moving southeast at 15 miles an hour. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, St. Augustine, Hastings, Ward Golf Village, St. Augustine Beach, Marineland, Villano Beach, South Ponte Vedra, Crescent Beach, St. Augustine Shores, Butler Beach here. So that is until 4:15, moving southeast at 15 miles an hour. Again, things kind of shift, a little bit in terms of movement, in terms of speed and direction here from time to time. But again, you see how we had the polygon go further west. Now some of that's kind of decayed in that spot, in terms of the overall storyline. And we got more concentrated action. They're coming more towards St. Augustine now and towards St. Johns County. So let's go ahead and kind of look on in here. You see our wind, 45, 40 miles an hour. You see our one warning that went away to the north there, and then the other warning went away around Valdosta. So we're just stuck with, one warning, but it's still, we got to be on the air with it. Got some strong weather here. As we look here toward the west, but and we have some stuff there around. Let's get to this radar. Some wind enhancement headed toward Brunswick there. We'll have to watch that. But as we get here toward the south, I know we have the heat advisory situation, sure, but that's impacting a lot of us here. I'll say that real quick, but some of these temperatures. So you see it's rain cooled in some spots in southeast Georgia now, but not so much in other areas of the viewing circle. But our new severe thunderstorm warning here until 4:15. You see around Passetti Road there, 45-mile-an-hour wind, 38. Scaff Road. Let's pull out the lightning count again. Over 1,000 in this frame in the last 15 minutes. That is just so excessive here. I mean, some of that, it can't tilt it all out of our, just for our area only, but I mean, I'll tilt it some, and most of that's in our area, not all of it though. I mean, this line here is producing a lot of it. I mean, it's almost 1,000 just with this frame, so it's probably about 1,000 in our area last 15 minutes. I mean, it's a lot of light in here, whether it's severe or not. In this case, it probably isn't, but this line here, but you see all this lightning in here just whenever thunder roars, go indoors, obviously. So again, just updating the best I can. See all this wind there in the word St. Johns County. Again, just scrubbing through some of the information here behind the scenes. Let's pull up Power His information here. See a handful of outages. I mean, a little more so over Valdosta, Lowndes, and Brooks counties, but otherwise that's pretty low, really, considering all the warnings we've had on the board. A lot of this, lightning cuts and some issues, but not, overwhelming issues, because generally, except for that one little burst we really saw on the radar and on the camera view of wind energy in southeast Duval, we haven't seen just an overwhelming wind signal, so that's good. 800, 100, 100 out there, 2,000 though in Lowndes County. Really telling that story. I mean, see 500 out even in Brooks County. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in, trusting me. Gonna check questions and comments again. Let's see, viewer talking about the pronunciation there in Southeast Georgia community. I pronounce it Nahunta there, as we're looking at things in the word, our Southeast Georgia zones. But I know we're at 93 here. It's just dark right now on the thermometer, just for reference as we're looking at everything. Just trying to keep you informed. Trying to be here for you. Going through all the different tools here in the toolkit. Okay, we got a new warning now. It looks like towards Suwannee, county area, Suwannee River Valley, and there's almost 5,000 joules per kilogram. A surface-based cape. We did just get a couple damage reports in to the north as well. So let me switch the radar over on that. I'm at the other computer right now, but let's go ahead and switch the radar over. Till 4:30, parts of Hamilton, parts of Suwannee County, the Jacksonville office issuing this, I think, based on what the reports were to the north, so partly anyway, because we just got some information on in. Numerous trees reported down in northern Lowndes County, several trees down in central Lowndes County, numerous trees down in southern Lowndes County. So that's not what you want to hear, obviously. And now Jackson will have an issue, a warning here as they're seeing things, seeing those reports pop up, seeing the overall signals in the Doppler algorithms. So we got a new warning now at 4:30. Let me go ahead and zoom back in over here. I'm going to sit back at this computer as we kind of maneuver some stuff around here this afternoon. Let me go ahead and kind of, I mean, that's one vantage point, but here's a better look at things as we get on in here. Let me get to some of these roads. Northwest 44th Street there. See 50-mile-an-hour winds showing up. Maybe even 57 miles an hour there. As we get there to Northwest 48th Street. So new severe thunderstorm warning until 4:30 p.m. So let me go ahead and read off some information here. Okay, another new warning, Thomas and Brooks. I'll go over there in just a moment, but we have Hamilton County and northern Suwannee County here, severe thunderstorm warning. And you saw the other one just pop in, by the way, but Hamilton and Suwannee there at 349. Severe thunderstorms are located along a line there, extending from 6 miles west of Jennings to near Jasper, moving south at 20 miles an hour. Live Oak, Jasper, Jennings, Suwannee Springs, Suwannee River State Park, Wellborn, Dallin Park, Blue Springs, Crossroads, and New Bern. So, again, just really tracking things very carefully. You know, updating the very best I can. So that's a new warning now till 4:30 p.m. And then we have our other new warning here toward parts of Thomas County. Ooh, a little burst of wind energy right in here around the Dillon to Merrillville area. Seeing that off the Tallahassee radar. Let me read off this warning. I mean, you have the heat advisories against this rampant, but I have the colors turned off because otherwise it'd be orange all over the board and kind of confusing. But you know, with all the other information we're showing on the radar. But so severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Thomas, southwestern Brooks counties until 4:30. At 3:51, a severe thunderstorm was located near Coolidge or 10 miles northeast of Thomasville, moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. So Quitman, Boston, Coolidge, Barwick, Dixie, Thomasville Municipal Airport, Grooverville, Dillon, over toward Easton near Oaklawn, Merrillville, Brooks County Airport, as well as Pasco, Hollis. So just got to remember that, you know, damaging winds potentially occurring, frequent cloudy ground lightning definitely occurring with this storm. Moving towards immediately. Lightning is one of nature's leading killers. Remember, if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. So, again, just got to be really cognizant here of the situation as we're looking at things meteorologically. We now have 3 different warnings here again, so things have, you know, ramped back up. Unfortunately, in terms of the yellow polygons, eventually, even here in Bradford County, we're going to have to start watching for some of this, you know, to move in toward like Stark. It's already starting to move into northern Bradford County, right around, looks like Crooked Road there, that roadway. Let me see if we can get some other road names up here as well. You see, of course, around 301, but, you know, hoping some of these other areas will pop in there. There we go, Logan Road, far northern Bradford, northern Bradford, but eventually some of that's going to move in towards Stark. It's still a little ways away, though. Again, ahead of schedule for sure, based on what ARRR was showing. I mean, you know, we're a few hours ahead of schedule from what it was showing there with the overall forecast. Again, I know it's had trouble all summer long, it seems like, and I mean, it was really not initializing things until, you know, maybe this hour. We've already had, you know, warnings for over an hour, and we were really seeing stuff in the 1 o'clock hour just erupt there in terms of lightning count, in terms of development, and right now we have over 1,000 lightning strikes here in the last 15 minutes here as we're looking at the overall situation. Again, trying to keep you informed. You see a lot around over Duval, for a lot of Duval, not right there around some of these roads here around Crystal Springs Road or Jones Road, but overall it's improved from what it was there. Generally, still remember whenever thunder roars go indoors, but just continue to watch things. I know I do want to take a couple minute break because I feel like we're going to be here a while now that we got, you know, new warnings coming on the board. So I'm just going to catch my breath here in just a second. Let me go ahead and see if there's any questions, comments, new ones that I need to take care of here. Okay, we do, you know, some darker skies there, it looks like, from Kim. You know, reporting in there to the north of Palm Coast. Sunny south still. Let me go ahead and look. Let me look at that area here. We're going to go ahead and go over there. I mean, Palm Coast under that warning now. Weather Service. Let me do a track on this then. We're going to do a track on this. The angle on this, it seems like it's, really wanted to keep moving more east, but, if it does go a little bit more south there and in toward Palm Coast, let me get our TOA tool out for this. So southeast at 15 is the movement. So let's go ahead and do some maneuvering with this. I mean, it says not until 5. I don't know if it would take that long to get there, but something you could get like, I mean, we're already seeing kind of something off of that. I was wondering if we'd get a boundary, maybe come through. If it cools things off ahead, it might be weakening, as it tried to come on in, but it's saying it would take a while to get there still. But you know what? Look at this right here developing out ahead now. Just in the last couple frames, we're seeing some action. So it's not a surefire thing this time of year like it would be like with a, a normal squall line. As we're looking at the overall situation, like when you're in the spring or something, we can give you really good estimates there in the winter, late fall, something like that there. Really talking about October through about April here when we have those squall lines with the El Nino pattern. We're going to have more of that than normal. And those definitely, some of them could even have tornado threats with them. So just an early heads up for that. The general idea of that with El Nino in play. We do have a new tropical system out in the Atlantic, Cristobal there, but it's not what we were looking at toward the south. It's one further up in the Atlantic. We're not worried about that at all. Not that we're worried about the other areas either. There are a couple other areas, but the one, the north is moving to the east. So again, that's the storyline there. Now we're watching something in the Pacific for Hawaii. They, have to watch out there in toward the Central Pacific. But again, just trying to update the very best we can. It is 3:59 p.m. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. Let me just go ahead and keep looking here at the very latest information. This wind kind of coming in towards St. Augustine here now. Volcano Beach, you see 44. You see 44 miles an hour. Anastasia, 48 miles an hour. So could cause some issues in lightning count, and this is not overwhelming. It's still a lot, but it's not 1,000. It's not a few hundred even. Like, look at these counts way out here. I mean, just really significant. I mean, compared to there, it's way out there. Of course, we have, viewers out there, plenty of viewers out there. I mean, I'm around Stark for reference. We have some storms coming in. They may end up getting an advisory pretty soon as we look. But again, looking here toward the west, you can see, I don't like that signal there in Hamilton County around the Adams community. We're seeing 57 miles an hour. That could knock down some trees. Again, this storm does have a history now, because I know it didn't, we were watching 5 warnings at one time when this was going on, and it didn't necessarily look like the worst one, but based on the reports, it apparently was the worst, in terms of the damage production here, this activity as it came in toward Valdosta. We have quite a few reports there, as you can kind of see. I mean, look at these here. Several trees down in central Lowndes County. We had reports of numerous trees down in southern Lowndes County. Numerous trees down in northern Lowndes County. That's not what you want to hear, obviously. So I'll go back over the past hour. I mean, and then I'll go back even further than that. I mean, you can just see we had, I think, a situation we had those bursts of wind energy kind of come in here, unfortunately. And, with some greens and reds, not rotation, but just I'll say that to you as well here. We're pretty close on the radar. And we'll go back, an hour here with this. If you look real close, you could see how we had some, like right around Lake Park, there's a little burst here of wind energy knocking trees down there. Unfortunately, those can be really problematic sometimes. Let's go ahead and go on over here. County power is total 2,000 customers in the dark. 100 customers out in Hamilton County. Duval does have 1,000, 100 out in Nassau, but I mean, Lowndes, that's what really stands out there. I mean, that's what I have in the system. It might even be a little higher, you know, based on maybe not everything reported in there, but 2,000 customers in the dark. There are all those trees that were knocked down in toward Lowndes County there, just, you know, getting reports all over the place. You don't generally get, you know, different indicators like this saying numerous trees reported down in the northern part of the county, and then several trees in the central part of the county, and then numerous more down in the southern part of the county. So these were some fierce winds coming on through there earlier on here as we were looking at the overall timeline, late 2 o'clock, early 3 o'clock hours. So not what you want to see, obviously. As we go ahead and look at the overall situation, we have 4 yellow boxes, 3 of those in our area. One's not in the area right now as we kind of look at things. This here looks like it could bring some pretty strong winds toward the Live Oak area, though. As we look here, different scans coming on out. I mean, that way that, you know, damage happened around Valdosta. I mean, of course, we had to focus on 5 warnings, but so we got to take every single one of these yellow boxes seriously because, you know, sometimes it's maybe not the one that looks the worst that ends up producing the most damage here in terms of the overall storm. I mean, we see the green and red. We didn't really see that with the others, but we, you know, had to focus on all the lightning in the Roy populated areas, the Duval there, and it looks like we had some, you know, noteworthy wind damage there in Lowndes County. So again, let's go back on some of these radar views. That looks weaker, by the way, going into St. Augustine. Still don't let your guard down, but that looks weaker as we're getting through there, which is some good news, and good news for our folks around Palm Coast as well, for whatever's left of that. Granted, we'll just have to watch the trends and see what their temperature is right now. I mean, we'll pull this up. You see 93 still in Palm Coast, but down to 75 in St. Augustine. Some cool air, I think, kind of coming on in there. You know, I mean, rain cooled maybe, but some of this, I thought I might have seen a boundary in here. Kind of something maybe, you know, kind of pushing out from that, which would be good news as we're looking at the overall trends. Let's get back up here then. So, you see 48 miles an hour there. And again, just appreciate everybody tuning in, trusting me here on this Wednesday. Just appreciate everybody's viewership. Gonna check some other modes here. Gonna check some other computer sources. Just appreciate everybody. Some skies dark there toward Brunswick, according to our viewer, that, you know, in toward that area. Just appreciate everybody tuning in, trusting me. It looks like we have, you know, over a dozen viewers watching right now on YouTube. Just appreciate everybody tuning on in. It's going between all of our different tools here in the toolkit. Looks like I've got a new warning in the north now. Okay, new warning up here. Seeing some of the wind. Let me read this information on off. Seeing some of our different boxes, and this is the newest one. The National Weather Service in Tallahassee has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Grady and southern Thomas there towards South Georgia until 4:45 p.m. At 4:04, a severe thunderstorm is located near Ocklawahnee or near Thomasville, moving southeast at 20 miles an hour, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, nickel-sized hail, Cairo, Thomasville, Grady County Airport, Moncrief, Dawesville, Pine Park, Everett, Beachton, and Metcalf. So hail damage and winds, occurring here, it would seem. I mean, damage and winds more likely probably than the hail aspect, especially, probably not quite as severe. It's just under severe with the hail, but the wind is what's getting us a warning. Continuous cloudy ground. Lightning is occurring, though, so move indoors immediately, as lightning is one of nature's leading killers, as the Weather Service is reiterating that here in the statement. Just remember, if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. So, again, just continuing to track things here, continuing to give you the very latest. Again, just trying to keep everybody safe. This looks a lot weaker towards St. Augustine, but still, I mean, we'll still watch some of these higher pixels. But there's not a lot of lightning there even, so that's good. Just continuing to update you. That's not quite severe there, like we have all these warnings here. A new one to the north of our area as well, but we have 4 in our area, 3, that we're watching in this frame that are within the viewing circle. Again, just trying to update you. Let's look toward Thomasville there in Thomas County. This is some pretty nasty weather coming on in. Just checking some of our scans here. The Tallahassee rated about 2,000 feet up. The Valdosta's almost 4,000. So Tallahassee showing some stronger winds here right into Thomasville now. Around Booker Heights, Dewey City, Thomasville proper. You see, it looks like Hansel Street, Mitchell Street there. 37, 29, 31, 29 miles an hour, 32. These don't look overwhelming, but these, maybe, underdoing it a little bit. Maybe getting some burst of wind to the surface. You see the latest update pushing things to the south side here now. As we're updating the very best we can, maybe 41 miles an hour on the periphery even. I mean, it's kind of interesting because you don't see a whole bunch there on that mode, but once you go to the wind mode, you see a good bit there on that edge. So it's a little bit tricky. They just had the warning issued there, I believe. As you back it up, you'll see right when it came in. So we saw that go toward the yellow box. So again, just trying to update you. I know 4:07 p.m. we had a new warning, and that's the one to the north. I believe Mitchell and Baker and Georgia. That's north of our area, but that's till 5 o'clock. We'll watch the trends with that. But again, just trying to update you. I'm just trying to keep you informed on the overall scenario. .46, 49 miles an hour. It's moving there toward the I-10 corridor. So I'll try to pull some cameras up here in just a moment. Just bear with me. Just appreciate everybody tuning on in, trusting me here. Just checking some of our different tools here in the toolkit. I'm going to go ahead and look here. Going to look toward I-10. Gonna see if I can get a camera view of the approaching activity. And I'm actually gonna check 75 here as well, because let's go 75 because I'm not necessarily seeing some of those views on I-10 yet, so in things. Here's an I-75 camera angle at County Road 132. And, you know, the roads come together here in this vicinity. Some really nasty weather there on that camera view right now. Some wicked weather coming on through. Reducing visibility. Maybe some small hail in there. It's hard to tell. This could just be big raindrops there. But again, just trying to give you guys the very latest information. Looking like some, you know, that pond in the water on the roadway. Just going between some of the different computer sources that I have. Gonna go ahead and move away from this viewpoint for now, but just trying to tell that weather story that went into the world. Just gonna go ahead and keep checking some of the different computer sources. Sitting back down here at the Barron computer source at this moment. This looks a little weaker. We have a boundary. Yeah, that may be, you know, we might be seeing some weakening here. The lightning count's gone down a little too, which might be some good news for Live Oak. Granted, that boundary probably has some pretty nasty winds with it, not, you know, maybe severe, but just kind of watching the trends with that. I'm just gonna power outages there. Kind of trying to tell that story. Let's go ahead and zoom back out. Zooming around here. So the warning around St. Augustine not renewed past 4:15. These winds look a little weaker toward Live Oak, so let's get back into Georgia here. These don't look really strong, but we could, you know, have some winds, some green, some red, so we could have a burst of wind energy in here. And I think I need to be on the Tallahassee radar for some of this, really. I mean, both are pretty close, but yeah, that says it a little bit better here. 32. That's still not overwhelming, though, which is good, but so we have currently 3 warnings in our area, 1 north of the area. So temperatures again. You see quite a bit cooler, kind of a dent in the temperatures there for sure towards southeast Georgia. 78 Waycross, 73 Homerville, but still 92 Lake City, 95 Stark, at least, you know, on the official reading for the county. I'm actually cooler now with some cooler air here are coming on in. We're down to 84 here east of Stark. So let me check our boundaries. Let me check our radar over here. Yeah, that's what did it. This boundary came through and dropped us quite a bit. So hopefully this will allow this to weaken, cause us to weaken some. Because that dropped us quite a bit. We haven't had any rain here. It's getting dark down. It is breezy right now. As I look here, as I get back up from the chair, I'm going to look out our window here just for a moment. Some really dark skies. Trees blowing around some, but again, just trying to tell that weather story. Just trying to update you. Again, just watching the overall viewpoints. You see 38 miles an hour east of Thomasville. Could be a little bit stronger down toward the surface. The burst of wind though. Just check some other information. Your two highest outage counties in our area, Lowndes and Duval there. Don't always say those two together, but that's the storyline with that. I'm just looking through all the different details here, all the different tools in the toolkit. Still got marginal risk here in Plano. Gone all the way through like Tennessee, and then there's a slight risk further up. They've had a lot of blast flood emergencies in North Indiana today. If your relative's up there, that's a big problem. That's what this, blasting is indicating there. I mean, we have some wind risk still, some tornado risk. Actually, a tornado on the ground, it looks like there now. So that's not great. I just saw a tornado warning get issued up there. Not our concern. It's just, the weather nerd and me kind of looking at things here and seeing a confirmed tornado warning there in Indiana. But then we have these flash flood emergencies there in the parts of areas closer up toward Indianapolis. All the rain they've seen up there, at least we haven't seen all this kind of rain like what they've seen up in that area of the country. I mean, we need some rain still, but we don't need totals like that in a pretty short period of time. As we go ahead and continue to give you the very latest here, to get back to the local view. Again, just trying to keep you up to date. Looks like a little bit of wind with this still, despite, that boundary coming through with wind and cooling conditions. Again, just zooming back around here. You see around Thomasville, some wind here, still on the Doppler algorithms on the scans. I know our totals here, rainfall-wise, a lot less compared to up north. I mean, you see some of these, purples indicating about 10 inches. Don't have anything like that around here, obviously. The yellows, I mean, these might underdo it a little based on the way I have this set with the broad brush, but still 2 or 3 inches here in spots, but not overwhelming totals. We definitely need the rain here. Let me go ahead. We have our different modes. We have the drought mode, And you see we need rain here on Stark the last week since this came out. Granted, they do this on, it comes out on a Thursday, but the update is done really on a Tuesday. I mean, the last week or so is still not enough as some, but, we're going to have still some pretty noteworthy information, higher up there in terms of the drought concern tomorrow on that drought monitor when it comes out. So. Just scrubbing between some stuff here. Got a new advisory north of the area. See a little bit of wind enhancement east of Lake City. 40-mile-an-hour gusts possible there. Not far from the airport there. As we go ahead and look. Just trying to update you the best I can. All those wind reports in Lowndes County. Several trees being down there, central part of the county, and numerous in the southern part. It's not what you want to see, obviously. Northern part of the county, some issues. Just going between some of the different scans here. We still got 3 warnings here in the area. Got some storm accident coming towards Stark here. Not severe, not even advisory noted right now, but still going to have some heavy downpours with it. So we got to be aware of here. In Bradford County with it's already getting into more parts of Lodi. You see around there some of the different communities. Let me put up our streets. Northwest County Road 125. Northwest County Road 225. Some of those areas are getting some heavy downpours, but nothing severe. It doesn't look like with that. Suwannee County stuff looks like it's weakening. That warning said to go away at 4:30. And then we have this stuff up here until that's 4:45. That's 4:30. So we're going to watch the trends. I'm going to take a quick break here and be back at 4:30 unless something breaks that's really urgent. Something really crazy happened like a tornado warning, then we jump back in sooner. But otherwise, I'll be back here at 4:30 with the very latest information. We haven't had much of that, tornadic activity here in terms of tornado warning, at least here this summer toward the areas. That's good, but things can always change when I say that. You just never know. But again, I'm not expecting anything like that in general, but you never really do here this time of year, so I just got to stay alert. That's not really the thread. The thread says damage and wind gusts here this afternoon, that potential. I'm back here at 4:30 with more information, so keep it tuned to Cloud's Weather. We're going to keep going. I've been talking straight for about 2 hours, a little less than that, just under that, but I'll be back at 4:30 with more, so keep it tuned right here for the very latest information. I know I'm just trying to update the very best I can here on the overall scenario meteorologically, in terms of the overall meteorology patterns. So I'll be back here soon. Keep it tuned to Cloud's Weather. This is a clouds weather alert. I'm back now in the Weather Center. I did not have my mic on there. I apologize. But again, we're back with you now with some severe weather coverage. Again, giving you guys the very latest information here on things. As we've been, watching over the last couple hours, some strong to severe storms here impacting the different zones. Just seeing the overall action here, seeing the overall serious nature of things and spots. I mean, right now here around Stark, seeing some of that wind picking on up a little, but I'm looking, just across through a window here and seeing some of this. We don't have a significant advisory. We're down to one severe thunderstorm warning, but significant advisory for some of this here around Stark. Seeing some stronger winds here with the overall scenario trying to come in. Let me see what they're saying with this significant weather advisory. In fact, at the Weather Service, they're in Jacksonville till 5:15. So let me go ahead and see what I can kind of pull on up here. See what I can kind of pull on up here with the very latest information. Gonna look through some things here. Okay, at 4:26 p.m., Doppler radar is tracking a cluster of strong thunderstorms along a line extending from near Wellborn to Dodger. Inland movement was southeast at 30 miles an hour. Wind gusts to 40 to 5 to 55 miles an hour. Possible excessive cloud to ground lightning and minor flooding seems to, be occurring here, at least in spots as we're looking at the overall information. Or if it's not occurring yet, that minor flooding, it will occur, in isolated spots here soon. So again, watching this kind of coming to Stark is not warned, but it is strong here in nature as we're looking at things. Again, just trying to update you. Don't have a whole bunch of light in it, but there is some here around Lodi. There is some. Northwest County Road 225, some heavy rain. Northwest County Road 125 there. The overall storyline. I know as we get up toward Thomasville area there, you still see some pretty nasty weather in the Wardette zone. That's where we have our remaining severe thunderstorm warning here on the board right now until 4:45 p.m. So Grady and Thomas here involved in this. And as we go ahead and get back down toward the south here, see some of the areas of wind enhancement. Again, these aren't overwhelming, but they're still noteworthy. Just trying to give you guys the very latest. Let's go up to our power outage information. See Lowndes County, Thomas County there. Noteworthy outage numbers. Okay, we just got a new warning from the Tallahassee office. Is it for this area up here? I think it is, which would be north of our area. Irwin County until 5 as well as Ben Hill. We used to cover that area, but not anymore. But that's a warning up that way till 5. But also, I used to cover this area. That's a warning up there till 5. But the one warning that we do have in our area is till 4:45. As we're looking at the different scans for parts of Grady and Thomas. Doesn't look as impressive on the velocity mode here at this point in time, which is a good sign. We'll have to just continue to watch it. Let me see what our wind gauge is showing here in Bradford, though, with some of the stronger accent coming in. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of look here at some of the other information. Just had a gust of 20 miles an hour. Looks like here just in the last few moments. It's only about 7 feet up on anemometer. So that's pretty impressive, really. I know it doesn't sound like it, but that means on one, maybe in an airport, it might be more like 40 or something. It doesn't always, you don't always like double it exactly. It's not scientific that way, but just in general here, that's pretty noteworthy. I'd be, curious to see what Keystone Heights Airport gets. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a gust to about 40 here. They haven't, already. I'm gonna check to see what the anemometer is reading over there on my other system. Let me go ahead and kind of look through some things here. I know 10 knots there on the gust at Keystone Heights. So far, not anything too crazy. Now, the Thomasville warning, though, I know there is that potential, at least, that there could be, some widespread wind damage there around Thomasville. So, something to definitely be taken note of here. They did ultimately upgrade us to a 70-mile-an-hour warning toward Thomasville there as we were looking over the last little bit. I know didn't see that here on this, but honestly, it was not. I mean, based on our signals here, it was not necessarily super indicative of that, but based on what we saw with the Lowndes County situation, I think they wanted it on the side of caution here, the Weather Service. So, and if this would have went to 80, it would have actually changed colors here, and I think, let me see if there's any examples of that right now in the country. I mean, you can see them flashing for like stuff up there, flash flood confirmed tornado. But I do hear rain where we're at, so let's get back down here. Here in Bradford County. Here, wind and rain with the significant weather advisory. It's 94 degrees down to 79 now. But the boundary, we actually caught off ahead of that some, but still not completely diminishing the storm threat here. 79 is still pretty warm, really. So again, just trying to update you. Trying to keep you informed. Again, some strong thunderstorm activity. Parts of Bradford County here till 5:15. Got some stuff up in toward Glenn County there. See some lightning there. Just whenever thunder roars go indoors. I mean, we have lightning all over the place, so not necessarily, just isolated to one spot or another, but again, I'm kind of curious about this because, I mean, it looked like, a signal on radar. I'm just surprised they went 70. I was not even, really thinking they would do that. So if you were around Thomasville, if you have any damage reports, let me know because Weather Service is pretty concerned, based on what they've seen, enough so that they went to a 70-mile-an-hour severe thunderstorm warning over there over the last little bit. I'll go ahead and look at power outage numbers. And we do have some outages there, 900. I mean, we had a really, noteworthy burst of wind energy on the radar out toward the east there. 2,000 customers in the near Valdosta area. I mean, I see near Valdosta area. Let's just say Valdosta and the surrounding area there in Lowndes County. So definitely some of that concern right into Valdosta itself. But now 1,000 out in Thomas County, the latest update. So again, just trying to give you the latest. Just trying to keep you informed. See some different alerts here and different hazards, different outage reports. It's a big significant other advisory. And I'm just looking through some of my different resources here behind the scenes. Again, we're getting some heavy rain right where we're at. Around the Stark Country Club. You see areas there, Northeast 15th Avenue, Northeast 15th Place, Northeast 12th Avenue, Northeast 21st Avenue, Short Street there, Besant Road, Valley Road. Some heavy rain right now in the Doppler. In terms of wind, there's a little bit. I mean, I'm seeing some of it. You're even looking across to a little small window. Again, trying to keep you up to date. Just going between everything here, all the different tools. Let's see if they're updating this here. Nothing new yet. We'll see if they extend this beyond 445. That's the only yellow box in the area right now, but still got strong acts in other spots. I mean, it was the first day of school in Union County, and now hopefully a lot of folks are already at home. But this stuff coming a little bit quicker than we would like to see it, in terms of this impact. They're right around State Road 100 into where the Lake Butler area. So, new warning now. Okay, so we're going to continue things. This goes till 5:30 now for parts of Jefferson, parts of Thomas, parts of Brooks here, parts of Madison. So let's go ahead and see what the weather service says about this. Read off this warning to everybody. So severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Jefferson, northwestern Madison, southern Thomas, and southwestern Brooks County until 5:30. At 4:41, a severe thunderstorm is located 8 miles south of Boston or 9 miles north of Monticello. They're moving southeast at 10 miles an hour. Monticello, Boston, Fincher, Dixie, Dills, Grooverville, Lois, Everett, Hamburg, Drifton, Lovett, over toward Impress there, Metcalf. So just really got to prepare immediately for damage and winds. They're going 60 on this versus 70 that was in play for areas around Thomasville. But they're just saying, really, you just want to be prepared for those damage and wind gusts here, and people outside to move in immediately to shelter inside a strong building to stay away from windows there. So, again, just trying to keep you up to date. Definitely got to be very mindful of things. Got to be very mindful as we're looking at the overall meteorological processes. And seeing some of this light here around. I know earlier on we were, especially concerned about all this lightning because, I mean, it was at about 1,000 on that counter there. Of course, again, the heat's a big story, but the active weather is why we're on right now with the storminess. You see 610 strikes here in this frame, last 15, but it was over 1,000 at one point. And, kids getting out of school here, whether it's the first day or in a lot of these areas, had been going a little bit, but not, too long here, just a few days, couple days. Having storms in that new routine is not fun here for sure. Having some impacts here at school dismissal time. So, definitely pretty noteworthy here as we've been talking through it. Let me see where else we want to go with this right now. Again, got some storm action here around Bradford County, around Stark. Let me go ahead and see what else I can kind of pull on up here, though, as I'm trying to update you. I'm going to pull up a coverage map. Just remind you guys of the 38 counties that I cover here while we're not talking about the other 2 warnings, we have this warning up there, and this other warning. We don't cover those areas anymore as of May 1st, more of an enhanced covered area. But these 38 counties, that's what I do cover here in terms of the viewing circle. But while I'm on, since it looks like we're not going to end up being able to do our cloud there at 5:30, like in its entirety, we'll still be on during that time, whether it's severe coverage or, we're up to 5:30 now with that new warning. So unless they drop that warning way early here, I think we're just going to kind of ride through it here, and the show will be part of this coverage per se, of abbreviated show here, because I've just been on for so long. But I'm going to try to just now go ahead and get up a model here. No reason to really wait. Try to go ahead and get a model up here with the HRRR to kind of plan things out here later on in the timeline. I'm going to go ahead and get our 18Z up here. So just let me get that together just for a moment as I look at the latest information. Granted, it was behind for today. It did not develop things quick enough, but I just want to see what it's done for tomorrow here for some of our local viewers as we're looking at the overall pattern. It may not, I just need to plan out earlier, the timeline for tomorrow here as well as we're looking at things. But I'll go ahead and say you what it's showing for 5 o'clock today. We'll kind of watch this progressing. I mean, again, it's not really doing a great job initializing here, but we'll just go ahead and kind of move past some of this. I think it'll be a weaker, a little quicker since it started a little earlier, but we'll see. Tallahassee really hadn't got a lot yet, so we'll have to see if, just how different things evolve, boundaries cool them off or whatever. But as we get into toward that Thursday there, you see some development. It says by 4, but I may want to plan a little earlier than that. We have some more potential for tomorrow, not as high maybe as today, but, definitely some potential there on the overall Doppler picture. So just going to continue to watch things across the different counties. Just trying to update you. Trying to inform you. Going between everything that I can. Got so many different tools here in the toolkit that I can go to. Just looking through everything. Okay, I want to check on our SPC. I want to double check for tomorrow. So no formal rest tomorrow. I'm going to pull that up now. So no formal rest for tomorrow around here. You have to get up to like Kentucky and Missouri for a formal rest, but we didn't have a formal rest for, today, excuse me, we didn't have a formal rest for today there as we were looking at things at this time yesterday either. So I kept having to up the rain chances for today because guidance was really going low for today. I had it at 20% back on Monday. Late Monday, I went to 30. Then I went to 40, and that was what we showed last night during our broadcast. And then I upped it again last night for the app to 50%. It's just so that in here, 50% for today here with the overall forecast. So I don't normally have to do that, having to keep going higher and higher and higher with the rain chance, this close in like that. But sometimes the models are just not helping us out here very much in terms of the overall situation. So at least it wasn't a windshield wiper effect where we're going up and down. We just had to gradually go up with it there. It's just a little lower than I would have liked to have had on the Monday broadcast for Wednesday. Things can change pretty quick still this time of year with the overall pattern as we're looking at things meteorologically. So again, just trying to keep you informed, just trying to keep you up to date, trying to be here for you. Again, just trying to tell you that story about that heat here. That's going to be a big problem as we look ahead. It's going to be a big problem for sure. See all these damage reports in here as well. All the different trees knocked down in Lowndes County. Thomas County, there's some issues as well now. Getting a report of a tree blocking the road near the intersection of Airline Road and Merrillville Road. That tells a story there as well. I see some wind there west of Perry. Some of the stuff here in Bradford looks like it's a little weaker now, that boundary. I think the cool air kind of catching up with the storm activity in terms of it, causing things to diminish here in strength. Now maybe holding their own a little bit, but not, forever here with the overall situation. And just continuing to look at everything here. Just going between all the different sources. I just kind of knocked something here, but again, just trying to give you guys the very latest here on the overall scenario. It's just about trying to update you guys the best I can. So again, I'm here for you. We're going to gather more details. I'll be back in 60 seconds. So keep it tuned to Cloud Weather's continuing severe weather coverage. So stick with me, everybody. In the last half decade or so, our area and the region have been through a lot. Stay safe, but it's going to be memorable. I was there around 4 p.m. to document them. Life-threatening situation here. So, again, that's the storyline there. Oh, I think we just had another power flash. Another power flash. Sometimes Bradford County is a tough spot to see a spin-up tornadoes, so we just want you to go ahead and be inside and away from windows. Can't even completely rule out a quick spin-up tornado, so things have started to escalate here. Please take shelter. This is going to cause a lot of damage. Radar-confirmed tornado in southeastern Georgia. We're seeing areas there around Perry. Bear the brunt of this coming into these communities and ravaging them. That's what we got to get you guys out. You got to run from that water. You got to evacuate. You got to follow these orders. This is as serious of a situation as I've seen. This is the eye wall. This is where some of the worst of the weather is. When hazardous weather threatens, trust Cloud's weather. Back here in the Weather Center now, meteorologist Casey Cloud. I know getting some different reports in here. Fire Larry Train's talking about his power just went out in the ward areas there. I believe it's South Bainbridge as I look back at the computer source. So I know welcome rain at first, but now unfortunately seeing a situation here with some of this stormy weather coming on through. Let me go back over in the Doppler to that area on our source. So as I walk back over here and sit back down, I will go ahead and look in toward Bainbridge. You see the lightning. See that electrical energy there. As we're looking at things, just got to remember whenever thunder ward, you need to go indoors here. Just trying to update the very best I can, kind of sitting right over town, which is good to get the rain. You just don't want all that electrical energy because that can sometimes cause some issues. Let's go ahead and look at wind mode here. Go ahead. I know we have a couple different modes. I mean, that's from Valdosta. Tallahassee has, pretty low winds, but again, just little things, a branch down can knock power out in spots. It's something to be aware of there. Unfortunately, having to deal with that there, at home, one of our viewers. So just again, trying to keep you informed here. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. As I go ahead and keep looking at things. Seeing a little wind enhancement maybe here north of Monticello there. 29. That doesn't look like anything crazy, but again, maybe that burst there. Have a little bit of that red in there. And we're looking at the situation. Again, just trying to be there for you. I've been, again, being here on for a while. Let's go ahead and loop things over the last few hours. Let's do 5-minute increments. But see, we had all that lightning on the board, and we had all these yellow polygons popping on up. Just all the electrical, activity here. I mean, there's over 1,000 strikes in the area at one point, well over 1,000. We're on the downtrend generally, though. I did see it looked like we were at 600 or so. As I see, just some of the information here. We're looking at things. I mean, we'll go back all the way. We have 2 yellow boxes north of our area. We have 1 in our area, but we'll take off the storm reports for a moment. Let's go back 6 hours. I mean, look at this here early this morning, but as we're looking at things, 11 o'clock hour, not much. And then we started seeing maybe a little bit of sprinkle action around noon, but then here you go. I mean, it just opened up. I mean, as we got to the afternoon here, just the development, overall, the overall pattern here, the overall storyline coming into play. Let's go ahead and, again, I'll remind you guys of a covered area. Let me get over to some of our heat graphics because that's a big story here as we look ahead, since it looks like we're just going to have to stick with coverage here into that 5 o'clock hour and have the show as part of this coverage. Let's just kind of, throw some of that stuff up now even. As I kind of give you the very latest. We'll go ahead and I'll get a couple things ready on that. Let me just go ahead and get a couple things ready there with our heat graphics. Okay, so I think I know how we're going to do this. We're going to try to do it this way. So, current temperatures, you see the big dip in those temperatures off in our northeastern zones and all the way through like Duval and into St. Johns County. And then the heat index, though, telling the story of Ward Cross City feels like 111 out there right now as we get toward part of Dixie County, that zone there. Just not fun at all in terms of that storyline and the mugginess, that swampy feel out there for sure. As we're updating you, you see this mugginess here, this mugginess with the overall scenario. Over 80 with that dew point there toward Bainbridge. Just wow. And then that wind gust situation here, you can see well in toward those 20 type of readings here. Just trying to update you. Just trying to update you. I mean, there's certain areas where you have the spots and the overall scenario kind of sticking out a little bit more here. Just a little bit more in terms of, under a severe thunderstorm, maybe something like that. I mean, a burst of wind definitely can have stronger winds in towards some of those spots for sure. As we're updating you with the overall scenario, just got to be cognizant of that, obviously, here as we're updating you on things. And then the rainfall forecast, the broad brush maybe a little higher for spots here. I mean, some spots, maybe a little lower though. This goes to the weekend here with the overall storyline. I know we've been talking about back to school here. Been talking about back to school. And you can see we had more counties like Union and Leon have their first day of school today. As we're looking at the situation, it looks like, the high school in Charlton goes back tomorrow, but I think that's it there for our map. And that was, something that changed in terms of they had a few extra days, more they needed to utilize before they could open that up, the new high school there in Charlton County. But I know with the tropics now, I actually have not updated this, so, because in terms of some of our information with that. Let me make sure we don't have anything else before I go to our tropic information. Again, we're in our live severe. I just wanted to go over some of our normal show stuff here because, we're into that time slot. I've been on for so long. It's just really wouldn't make sense here to go into the, actual show elements here, the separate show here. Like we got the warning to go away even right before 5:30. We would just, it wouldn't be enough time here really. So I know we do have Tropical Storm Cristobal out there, Cristobal, I think that's how the official pronunciation is there. As we're looking, we have that out there now. It's the system further up, though, in the Atlantic Basin, as we're looking at the information there. So let's go ahead and do some maneuvering with that then. We'll go ahead and do some maneuvering with that. I know, again, we still have our severe thunderstorm warning. We've been with you since about 2:30 or so this afternoon. Just trying to keep you guys informed You can kind of see here parts of Brooks, parts of Thomas, parts of Jefferson, parts of Madison till 5:30 a warning. Looks like this might be a little stronger almost down to the south now here as we look south of Madison. So we're watching that to see if that needs a warning, but this yellow box may go away pretty soon. We'll see, but let's go ahead. Again, just looking at the overall viewpoint here, we're going to get out in the Atlantic. And we're going to switch some different modes on in here. You know, as we're looking, let's get over them. We have a couple different areas that might develop out here toward the Atlantic Basin. We already have our sea name accounted for to the north, so Dolly would be the next name. We'll see how the models watch the trends. I know here we already have a system up in this zone. Let me put on some other modes here. You can see it with our, information. That's where our system is. This is, on here it looks like a small wind field. Let me measure it out, though. I hadn't really studied it too much because, it's not that big there overall. As we're looking at things, a tropical storm out there in the Atlantic. That's kind of the path of it over the last little bit with some of those winds. Let's go ahead and put satellite on so you'll kind of have an idea of what we're doing with our tropical storm out there, Cristobal. So we'll go ahead and put our information on in. Just bear with me to make sure I get the right details on in here. We'll go ahead and put water vapor up. You can kind of see some of that here. Nothing so overwhelming, but it is a tropical storm, but not headed this way. It's headed east. Not a concern for us. We have some other areas we're watching out here, though. But there's definitely dry air in the basin and some wind shear and Saharan dust. There's some different limiting factors, but we still have to, see if things can evolve down here. But nothing of imminent concern, so that's good news. I mean, you see the moisture around here. I mean, a lot more of that, really, compared to even out there. If you do the compare and contrast in terms of, the darker shade, you don't see a whole bunch of that. I mean, really, maybe a little bit more here. It's close. I mean, I thought maybe I could kind of pixel query some of these numbers, but not necessarily on that. But again, just trying to update you here. These just don't look like anything too crazy compared to what we're doing with our summertime, storm. That's why they're not named yet with the overall scenario. Even the one that's named, I mean, it just has, some different characteristics that allow that to be tropical in nature. So that's why we're not making a big deal about things when we have stuff around here that looks like a bigger deal in general with just the afternoon storms. So again, just trying to update you here. Trying to give you guys the very latest on things. You see here the Doppler perspective. That's off of Tallahassee. Let's go to Jacksonville's view. Definitely a lot weaker. I mean, it was looking pretty nasty with the sky here on Stark, but that's really faded as it's come on in here. Southern parts of Suwannee County, seeing some lightning there, that electrical energy. As we're looking there, southeast of McAlpin, just whenever a thunder roars, you want to go indoors there. As we're looking at that detailed information there. Let's go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. You see quite a bit of lightning here in parts of Madison County, south of where the warning is, really. South of where the warning is. For some of this electrical, accident is. Our warning, it looks, like it's kind of diminished there in general, but we still have to monitor it. So if there's any more questions, comments here from any of the viewers at home. Again, we were talking about, Farley trains there. South Bainbridge area, the power went off. So just, a little while ago, not great there. With some storm action coming on in. Hopefully it'll come back on soon for Farley trains for you watching there. As we're, updating you. And I'm just going through some of the comments earlier on. I know we had darker skies earlier on. Danielle was saying about an hour ago in Coolidge, Georgia. Just making sure I covered everything the best I could in terms of our comment section. And as we try to update you the very best I can. Going back to the computer source again. Just trying to update you. And one of the reasons, a weak tropical storm gets named, especially if it's, something that's closer to ward at home. I mean, there's different hazards with weak tropical storms. Don't get me wrong. Some could have big flooding, but sometimes you just want to name them so you're really watching them. You can have all the data points really being tracked because they can strengthen quickly sometimes. Is why you're really watching a weak tropical storm, even if there doesn't look like a lot. It doesn't look like a lot there, unlike water vapor and the like. But again, just trying to keep you up to date, trying to keep you informed, trying to give you the very latest. See the power outages, even here in Bradford County, some in the dark, it looks like. Let's pull up currents. You see 300 out Bradford, 100 out Clay, 2,000 Duval, 100 Columbia, 100 Hamilton, 120, 500 in Lowndes there, 1,000 toward areas there around Thomas County, and then 700, further west there you see out toward Grady County. So again, just trying to let you know everything that's going on here. And we're almost in no man's land here in terms of the time schedule because, again, we still have our 5:30 soak coming, but it's really too late to kind of get a full soak together. But this storm, almost could just wrap it for that. But we're just going to stick with it and then, kind of talk through here our normal topics in terms of the overall storyline. Because we could get more warnings. This down here might get a warning down toward the Taylor and Madison, Lafayette County line. But we'll continue to watch the trends. Let's go back over to our other source again. We have that new system in the tropics here, but let's go ahead and talk about like airport delays. So some airport delays downstate there around Orlando this afternoon. And then temperature-wise, you see that it's pretty warm down there, so I'm not sure if it's weather-related. Let me look. I'll go ahead and look here at my radar behind the scenes because I haven't been paying attention too much to down there since they're out of the area, but it could impact some of your flights, local viewers. There are some areas on the Doppler. It looks like quite a bit of wind energy just southeast of Kissimmee there, moving toward Palm Bay. So, it is 96 still in Orlando, which is what I wanted to check because that's, not so many indications of, stormy weather causing problems, but definitely still have some issues, but not indicative of something directly. But, sometimes just a few miles can make a big difference here in the summertime pattern. I know you see it's so hot towards some parts of the country here. 100 Little Rock, 102 Oklahoma City, 102 Lubbock. You see out toward the west there, 99 toward Phoenix. As we're looking at the overall situation, but it's 105 in Wichita, 102 in Oklahoma City. So it is just a sweltering day here with the overall storyline. And then you still have some severe weather, potential tomorrow's way. I mean, we have our general thunderstorm risk here toward our area, toward our counties. But to the north, there's a marginal risk. Granted, we still, way to the north, but, we could still get some severe here in our area. We'll just have to kind of wait and see here as we look with some of that pop-up activity. So, again, just trying to give you guys the very latest here. Just trying to give you guys the very latest on everything. Appreciate everybody tuning in and trusting me. We still have that one warning here on the board. Still have that one warning on the board here. Let me go ahead and go through some of my other information behind the scenes. Just appreciate everybody tuning on in. And looking at Facebook, it looks like we've had folks like Gene and Thomas and William tuning in today. Just appreciate the viewership here. That's on Facebook, Casey Cloud WX. And then Dolly tuning in on the other Facebook page. Just appreciate everybody tuning on in. Just giving you the latest updates. Gonna go ahead and keep zooming around here. You see southern Suwannee County. Watching some other different information, some wind in there, moving toward Fort White, it looks like maybe 37 miles an hour, 29 miles an hour. Got some new stuff here that's kind of coming into view in toward southeast Georgia. As you look there toward parts of areas there around Pierce County. I'm just scrolling around here looking at the scans right now. Again, some of the stuff out ahead of the yellow box looks a little more threatening. But still got to be careful with the yellow box and the severe thunderstorm warning there as well. Let me go ahead and keep looking through things here. Again, just really appreciate everybody tuning on in. Let me go ahead and go back to our show mode. I know we still need that rain here. You know, some of our spots, even though some spots I've seen it quite a bit lately, because that drought monitor, I know it's weird to say, we have had some rain lately. And here today on East Stark about, it looks like a little over 1/10 of an inch, 0.15. But we're still in a pretty big hole here overall. And I haven't said this other graphic in a while. Sometimes it's not exactly, you know, it's never going to be exactly right with something like this, but it's a broad brush. Yeah, I don't know about some of these numbers here. I'm going to have to check that because I think they're doing a little bit better than that around Cedar Key now with all the rain they've had lately, but I'll have to check that on a different source there. But I know for tomorrow morning, you can see there as we get toward the mid-70s, toward areas around Stark, and it's not going to, you know, be that fun here, even at the bus stop in the morning. It's going to be a little bit on the warmer side here as we're looking at the overall information. A little bit, you know, warmer there overall, so it's got to be cognizant of that. Let me go ahead and look through things here. Just checking to see about some of our different information here. Just reading through a couple different things here with some of our details. Just appreciate everybody tuning on in. There may be a little bit of fog in the mornings, kind of what I'm trying to look at here behind the scenes. I wanted to check some stuff on the fly with that. So just be aware of that here at the bus stop as we're looking ahead in the timeline. Just broadening the temperature trends out for the whole region. You can see mid-70s there towards Stark. You see 81 towards Cedar Key, that Gulf influence. So just kind of telling that overall story. And then it's going to be hot again. That's your almost a bigger story for, you know, if you don't get the storms, you're going to have the heat. But even if you get the storms, you're going to have the heat first. So just got to be aware of this heat danger here as we're looking at toward our different zones. Just got to really be cognizant of that. Checking with the Weather Service, see what they're doing. Okay, they're canceling the severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go back over to that. Kind of why we moved on from that a little. We didn't see the trends, you know, that looked too aggressive anymore with, and they have dropped the warning. As you see here, the yellow box, this one away here, the more, you know, fierce looking accent to the south now. So officially we don't have any more warnings, but we're almost to 5:30 anyway. That's kind of why we've already started up this show pretty much a little bit early in terms of just all the topics. We may get some warnings still because some of this looks like it's intensifying a little bit down toward the south here as we're looking at the overall pattern. So down here toward parts of Columbia County, this looks a little stronger now, 49 miles an hour. So we get on in here around a southwest Old Wire Road, southwest Herline Street. So some stronger winds down in there in toward parts of Columbia County now. So we're seeing some strengthening down there. You can see here east and north of Perry. Again, seeing some wind potential here, 45. Just again, seeing some higher rainfall rates as well, indicated by those 100 DBZ values. So again, just trying to update the very best I can. Again, first time in a few hours we haven't had any warnings around really, but still some pretty strong weather, and that might not last long, that trend. Again, some of this stuff looks pretty fierce. Northwest of Mayo here. Let's get some of these streets on here. Around Bounder Road, you see around Holly Road, Honeybee Road, 47 miles an hour. .48 miles an hour. Again, just telling that with a story. Still got some of that slight to moderate rain in Duval. You gotta watch out for these lightning strikes that are really random because, there's not many of them around here, but sometimes in some of this rainfall here, you might be trying to just get home and you're out and about, of course, with the heat advisory and play that I'll be talking more about. But you see these random strikes here. You don't really expect them. If they're cloud to the ground, that can be very dangerous in nature. So just got to be mindful of that here as we're looking at the overall situation. Look at all these wind reports though in south central Georgia. A lot of them in Thomas County here now. Reports of trees down and uprooted along Lower Boston Road. We talked about this report there, the tree down along near the intersection of Airline Road and Merrillville Road. A tree blocking the eastbound lane of Highway 122 near the intersection of Lawhorn Road and Highway 122. Got Thomas County 911 call center reporting a tree down on a power line around Merrillville. So you hate hearing about stuff like that. Obviously, if you were to see a power line down and you're, it's a situation you do not want to get near it. Whatever caused it to fall. And if you're uncertain whether it's a power line or some other type of line, just still don't get near it. Make sure you call the proper folks there so they can deal with it, because you can get electrocuted. You can lose your life here to a down power line if you're not careful in these type of situations. Just got to be very mindful, obviously. I mean, most of us are going to be okay. I'm not trying to overhype things. It's just we have seen situations like that, at times. Looks like a new storm here now in toward parts of Gadsden County. This is a more untapped environment, so got to kind of wonder here if this could start to become an issue for us. Some of these numbers here ramping on up a little bit. So as we look at the information here, see parts of Duval County, a couple inches of rain in 1 hour later on. See parts of course, the area there in toward Lafayette County there, some stronger winds. Parts of Columbia County, some stronger winds here, but not quite maybe to severe limits, not at this moment anyway. But we've definitely had some power outages that we've been alluding to. Wow, that Bradford number is interesting because we have not really, at least where we're at, it wasn't too noteworthy. Let me see what's going on with that. It kind of fell apart right when I was getting here, but 1,000 out now here in Bradford, so that's kind of interesting. Let me see if that's Clay Electric. That's what I have here. Let me go ahead and see what their outage map is telling me. Okay, so 891 out in Bradford, according to Clay Electric right now. Let's go ahead and review the radar then. By the way, if you guys are wondering, this is about, here, this time frame, since we've been on anyway. It's maybe right around 4 o'clock, maybe just before 4-ish. I can't remember the exact time, but 22 years ago today, we had that significant tornado from Tropical Storm Bonnie hit Duval County. It was the day before Hurricane Charlie hit the state. Bonnie hit to the west, Charlie hit to the south on the 13th of Friday. This was the 12th of Thursday that year in 2004. It was when I was 10 years old. We had a tornado that was very significant there coming toward parts of northwestern Duval County and caused some pretty big problems. So that was 22 years ago today here in that overall timeline as we're looking at the overall information. So that's just crazy to think about. Time goes very quickly. I remember that day, watching the coverage here in the Jacksonville market. Just crazy how that, set on up here with the overall meteorology with that circulation there in play, and the aftermath of it was especially prominent with the coverage. So, again, just trying to update you though. Let's go ahead and see what we can kind of come up with here. We're going to get over toward some of our different modes here, loop this around a little bit. So I see how everything came together. We had all these yellow boxes, and they've now gone away, at least for right now. We've had some damage left in the wake here of the storm activity. Damage left in the wake of the storm activity for sure, towards some of the different spots. I know normally would go off if we didn't have any warnings left, but we do need to stick with you here for our 5:30 show, which we're kind of, we've already covered some of the topics here. We're going to keep going into that here momentarily as we keep you guys up to date. So just a one-man band, but all about trying to give you guys the very latest information on everything here. Just trying to update you here on the overall situation. Again, you don't normally see storms just go from 0 lightning strikes to 1,000 strikes within, really that bigger headline was 0 to like 500, 600 within an hour, but, just 0 to 1,000 there by, that 3 o'clock hour at least. Just that can happen. It's just the nature of going from 0 to 500 or so, and with nothing on the radar hardly, a strong storm so quick. What a day it's been here on the Doppler, and it's not quite over yet for some of our viewers. We're watching this for Bradford County too, because we did have some, power outages. Granted, right around where we're at, it kind of weakened as it was coming on in. We only got a little over, 1/10 of an inch, so 0.15 on the rain gauge. We're right here, at the Stark Country Club. Let's go over toward 3 hours. 1/2 an inch, 1/4 inch. A little less toward the east here. It's a little bit more of it held together in northern Bradford. Didn't have any warning here in Bradford or anything, any type of warning advisory though. But Highland, down 301 toward Laurie, Saxton there. Some storm activity, but again, things have generally weakened. Again, we have an advisory over here. This isn't far from needing a warning toward the Fort White area. 50-mile-an-hour winds down in there. That's pretty significant. As we get there near, it looks like Southwest Centerville Avenue. So got to be mindful of that. Let me check some of the modes here. Checking some things behind the scenes. It looks like a Jason Peter Doyle Adventures in there. Next tuning in. Appreciate your viewership here on this Wednesday. On this, the 12th day of August, 2026. I know, just looking at some of our instability values here. Still about 3,000 to about 4,000 Roy joules per kilogram in toward parts of Gilchrist County. Nothing's doing on supercell composite though, or STP, which is good. Indicating it'd be harder for something to rotate, but still could have a burst of wind energy in there. Or if you get a merge or something, it could spin real quick, but we're not, terribly concerned about that in general. That's, our main threat. The marginal risk is for the damage and wind potential today. That 1 out of 5 on the scale. So Again, just trying to give you the updates here. Trying to give you the updates. Just going between our different scans here. Let's see the infrared satellite. And we had storms last night in southern Middle Tennessee. And you can kind of see how things came together off of that, really. I mean, it didn't go back as far as it did in that, I mean, at the same time interval, it's just earlier on, you could see how the stuff was going a little better. Let me try to do this a different way. Let's go to water vapor. And we'll go 24 hours back. Let's try this. This is yesterday. And then we had some stuff in Tennessee. Some of that kind of got further west than anticipated there with the overall scenario. And then you see how it kind of was fading. But then you see how we saw things come back together with the remnants of that. So again, I know my friend there, meteorologist Elijah Kirby in southern Middle Tennessee. I know there was a flash flood warning he was watching up there last night in his area. And you can kind of see how that moisture, we saw things kind of fade overall, but you could still see the remnants of it. And then it erupted back over our area this afternoon. So again, just kind of telling that other story for sure. As we go ahead and keep you informed. That looks like that, that's getting close to needing a warning there. I know we're pretty far up. It's coming from the Valdosta radar, but right around Hollingsworth Bluff, I mean, wouldn't be completely surprised if a tree or two fell in toward that area there. I mean, we're having to look pretty high up on this, but 5,000 feet, the closest radar scan. That's from Valdosta. Let's check Jacksonville. It's the same, actually. I mean, we are actually seeing a couple directions worth of wind here, maybe a burst of wind energy in toward this area right now around southern Columbia County. Wouldn't be surprised there as we look right around Fort White. No official warning or anything, but still got to be careful as we look southwest Old Wire Road, southwest Cook Street there, southwest Plymouth Avenue, southwest George Street, southwest Durant Street, southwest Sanders Way, southwest Tarver Court, southwest Hugh Loop, Browns Road there, Hilliard Lane. So we're just going to keep looking at some of these different scans. Let's check. I know it's really far, but I'm going to just check Tampa. It's showing it up aloft too. Tallahassee, Valdosta, Jacksonville. Oh, I'm showing some wind energy here. Wouldn't it be completely stunned if Jacksonville office ended up issuing a severe thunderstorm warning on this here toward parts of our area we shall see. But again, right around Hollingsworth Bluff, we're watching that. Just checking questions, comments. Again, it is 5:30 and generally would have a normal show right now, but we're in this, continuing severe weather coverage. But I think I'll go ahead and roll our intro for a 5:30 show here as I go back to the other computer just to kind of, do it that way since we don't have any formal warnings right now. So go back between the computers, one-man band trying to keep you safe. Well, no, we're going to stick with severe because guess what? It is a severe thunderstorm warning on this area we were just talking about. So, okay, so I was about to hit the intro button. No, we're going to stick with severe instead then. We just got our new severe thunderstorm warning here. I was alluding to it. Looked a little bit aggressive here on the Doppler. And now we have a severe thunderstorm warning here for parts of our area until 6 o'clock. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and see what we have here. Let me go ahead and read this on off from the Weather Service. Going to go ahead and gather that information here. Okay, the National Weather Service, and there's a tornado possible tag with this. So, I was alluding to, I did not really think in general to have much of that threat, but we started seeing some greens and reds, and they think, maybe that boundary, maybe some different spin, interactions here, maybe causing something. It's so far from the radar. There's now a tornado possible tag on in here. I was kind of a little concerned because of the area where this was. The area where this was here in general, it's where we had some stuff a couple weeks ago. And we are pretty far from radar. There's quite a bit in the statements. Let me go ahead and read this off to you here. Okay, so the National Weather Service in Jackson was issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Gilchrist County in northern Florida, as well as west central Alachua County, southwestern Columbia County, southeastern Suwannee County. So at 5:29, a severe thunderstorm was located near Ichetucknee Spring, moving south at 15 miles an hour. So this is till 6 p.m. 60-mile-an-hour wind gust potential, parts of Suwannee, parts of Columbia, parts of Gilchrist, a lot of Gilchrist really, and then a little bit of Alachua in this here as well, as we're looking at the information. So Bell, Ichetucknee Spring, High Springs, that High Springs area, not just, we have like Ichetuckney Spring, Ichetuckney Springs, but now here we have Ichetuckney Spring, we have High Springs, we have Fort White, we have Hildreth. So just remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you spot a tornado, go at once into that small central room in a sturdy structure. For your protection is moved to that interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Intense thunderstorm lines can produce brief tornadoes and widespread significant wind damage. Although a tornado is not immediately likely, it is best there to move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. This storm may cause serious injury and significant property damage. So just got to remember that torrential rainfall also occurring with this storm may lead to flash flooding. Do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways. So again, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning here till 6 p.m. As we're trying to update the very best we can. Just trying to update the very best we can. There's a lot of wind in there. Just trying to keep you informed. So, going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just a moment here with our coverage of the situation on cloud weather. Just stay tuned, everybody. In the last half decade or so, our area and the region have been through a lot. Stay safe, but it's going to be memorable. I was there around 4 p.m. to document them. Life-threatening situation here. So, again, that's the storyline there. Oh, I think we just had another power flash. Another power flash. Sometimes Bradford County is a tough spot to see a spin-up tornadoes, so we just want you to go ahead and be inside and away from windows. Can't even completely rule out a quick spin-up tornado, so things have started to escalate here. Please take shelter. This is going to cause a lot of damage. Radar-confirmed tornado in southeastern Georgia. We're seeing areas there around Perry. Bear the brunt of this coming into these communities and ravaging them. That's what we got to get you guys out. You got to run from that water. You got to evacuate. You got to follow these orders. This is as serious of a situation I've seen. This is the eye wall. This is where some of the worst of the weather is. When hazardous weather threatens, trust clouds weather. Back here now, these are some pretty strong winds showing in the Doppler here around Hollingsworth Bluff. We need to be taking precautions here with a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, we have this severe thunderstorm warning in place. This is right there. You see US 27. You also see here some other roads in here. We kind of look northeast 55th Street here. Just got to be really mindful of some of this action there. With this, brighter red indicating stronger wind speeds here, 64 miles an hour. Granted, we are looking pretty far up here, but this is, something that's really pulsing up here just over the last few minutes as we look at the overall situation. Again, just trying to update the very best we can. I know, this is west of High Springs for perspective, south of Fort White now where the worst of this is, based on the Doppler echoes. So you see here on Northeast 55th Avenue, 64 miles an hour. And I keep repeating myself a little, but let's just kind of keep talking about this area here. Again, severe thunderstorm warning, especially in the Gilchrist County here till 6 p.m. I'm going to read off our warning again. So 5:29 p.m., the National Weather Service in Jacksonville issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Gilchrist County west central Alachua County, southwestern Columbia County, and southeastern Suwannee County. So we're seeing a severe thunderstorm located near Chetuckney Spring, moving south at 15 miles an hour. Again, this goes until 6 p.m. The alert: Bell, Chetuckney Spring, High Springs, Fort White, and Hildreth. Weather Service, this first time I think we've had one of these today, a tornado possible tag with this, even if it's not an immediate, threat that's, likely or overwhelming. It's something that cannot be completely ruled out. So, again, just trying to update the very best I can here. Some stronger winds aloft, showing up at about 5,500 feet off the Valdosta, Georgia radar, as we're looking here in the north parts of north central Florida. So, just continuing to update here. And if you guys are wondering where this is, if you're maybe not as familiar with that part of area, Gilchrist County, you see Gainesville over here. You see this is about 30 miles. The worst is about 30 miles as the crow flies. They're northwest of Gainesville. So, the center of Gainesville at least. So, again, just trying to update you. You see how we're starting to we're getting so far away on the radar. It's, causing some issues for us. But let's go ahead and try some other modes here. Definitely some of that wind potential here in this area. Let's put on our highway shields. This is west of 75. And you see this is kind of pulsing on in here as we look at the latest information. Again, no other warnings here in the area, but all this damage earlier on toward areas to the north here, Thomas County and Lowndes County. You see there, a tree was blocking there, the eastbound lane of Highway 122 there. Trees down and uprooted along Lower Boston Road. Several trees down in central Lowndes County. Let's just kind of watch the progression of things over the last a couple of hours here. Let me go faster than 1 minute. So we're gonna, you see how we had this accent up here. Well, then we've kind of had some different boundaries involved, but it's kind of in that same, geographic pathway here. Not sure it's the exact same area. It looks like it was something. Let me just see here. I'm watching this on the fly. I mean, maybe it was actually that same storm that was around Valdosta, kind of getting invigorated here, reinvigorated. Maybe the more I watch that there, it's just, I have to focus on all the acts, and it kind of looks like it. We had some different boundaries, but in general, it's that same area here that we were watching. I mean, you may have had a boundary kind of trigger some stuff out ahead. It's hard to say. We don't generally get stuff that's north to south like this. You don't normally get stuff like this in the summertime. Sometimes you get all this heat building up, you get a little bit more of an enhancement of storms. I mean, we had to keep raising that rain chance. We don't normally have to do that. I mean, again, I had 20% for today on that. So Monday night, I went 30% in the app there Monday night. Updating it, I updated 40 early Tuesday afternoon so we had 40, and then late last night I went to 50 for today. And you see what we have, storm accent all over the place here in the overall scenario. So I mean, the model guidance is really going low. I mean, it was only going about 20% here for today. As we were looking a couple of days out, and things just changed here. With the high res guidance as it started getting in Monday night. It was looking like something a little bit more formidable here with that storm threat today. So, again, just trying to update you the best I can. Trying to update the very best I can. Trying to keep you informed. Fort White there and High Springs are under the warning. I mean, Fort White, some of the worst is already passed. High Springs is on the edge. The worst there. Hollinsworth Bluff, Overall Ward, it looks like Crags in general. And you see the Williford community there as well. So again, just watching things here. Just tracking things. See some other stronger storms there, not quite severe though, like toward areas in southeast Georgia, Pierce County. And that heat, we're kind of having to bounce back and forth here, but more back into severe, even though we were talking more so stuff ahead of 5:30 because of, having warnings for a few minutes there. Just in general, the heat's going to be the bigger story, but some storm chances, some days I'm going to have to go up on some of these. We'll have to just wait and see, but a little bit more moisture than what we were thinking at first there in the overall pattern. But you definitely see that heat a big player here as well as we're watching the scenario here across our area. But as we get back on in here, some pretty strong winds here around some of these spots. 50 miles an hour, 48. They're not quite as strong as they were maybe a few minutes ago, but we're so far from the radar. I mean, we are on the Valdosta radar. They were sounding a little stronger up there, but I mean, we are looking at, 6,000 feet up. So it's hard to know what's really happening. Let's go to power outage information. I'll go to current. So I'll go to, to the north, Columbia County, 400 out, 200 out. I'm surprised Bradford's as high as it is. It's gone down some, though. It's like 1,000 for a few minutes here, even though we really didn't have too much. It didn't look like. A little bit in northern Bradford that was a little more feisty, but things kind of faded. They got into toward this dark area. Again, just trying to keep you up to date. Let me see if there's any more questions, comments. Going to go over to that computer source here in just a moment. Appreciate everybody tuning on in. See that thunderstorm warning remaining in effect here, parts of Gilchrist County till 6 p.m. Don't see anything new right now, but just appreciate everybody that's been tuning in here over the last few hours. All of our different viewers, several viewers tuning on in here and commenting here. Just appreciate everybody watching this live coverage here, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter/X, on YouTube there at Clouds Weather. You have the DVR functionality on YouTube there. You guys have Twitch there. Just all the different sources here to try to give you guys the very latest information. Going back to the weather computer here. I'm just trying to inform you the best I can. "50 miles an hour." Again, 58 is just official severe criteria. Let's check lightning in here. It had gone up and then it started to go back down a little bit, it looked like there recently. Maybe, sometimes you can get some different things going on. Allow for some weakening, but again, just trying to update you. Maybe a little bit of hail in there, but again, just trying to update you. This is a different product here. I mean, we have some higher storm tops. I don't know if it's going to let me. Yeah, it kind of does. This is getting so high up there anyway on the beam. It may not be doing a good job, but just kind of trying to tell that story here. There's some of our different areas here that are more enhanced here. Some different emojis. Probably like wondering where am I going with this. I'm just trying to say some different ways here. I just see the overall threat. This is the Barron button here, and you can definitely see some more hazardous weather possible toward those purple zones here based on maybe a little bit of smaller hail, but really the wind mode, this is what we need to stick on. I mean, because I think that's where you have your most prominent threat here as we're looking at the overall situation. So we still have that severe thunderstorm warning. It's a pretty rural area. Granted, as you see here, east of Bell, west of High Springs are the worst. Granted, the Barron button there. Let's go to that again. I mean, it shows some stuff there closer to Bell and High Springs, and maybe a little bit of hail mixing in. But I think, again, velocity is probably what's going to tell us the better, really type of depiction of the situation. So, again, just trying to update you here the very best I can. We're going to go ahead and go through some other graphics now. Or actually, no, I think they updated the warning. So let's go ahead and see what they did with this, with their update till 6 p.m. Let me go through this here. Okay, the severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Columbia and southeastern Suwannee counties is canceled. The severe thunderstorm was prompted. The warning has moved out of the warned area, therefore the warning has been canceled. But we still have the tornado possible tag, Gilchrist and Alachua. A severe thunderstorm. A warning remains in effect until 6 p.m. for Gilchrist and west central Alachua counties. At 5:43, a severe thunderstorm was located near Fort White, or 7 miles south of Ichetucknee Spring, moving south at 15 miles an hour. Bell and High Springs into this. Just remain alert for a possible tornado, as tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you spot a tornado, go at once into that small central room in a sturdy structure. So, very important to keep in mind here as we're looking at the overall scenario here with the Doppler radar picture. So, just trying to be here for you. Trying to be here for you. Let's go ahead and go back into SO mode now. Again, the heat's a bigger story for a lot of us, especially before storms move in. Chances a little lower for tomorrow right now. Let's see a different look at things here. Now, this is the Baron 3K, and, maybe doing an okay job right now. I mean, compared to HRR, we're going to go ahead and put it into play mode so we can actually say this to you a little bit better here, and you'll be able to see how things kind of move on out, it looks like here, but then more stuff bubbles up tomorrow. And then as we get toward that Friday here, another day of storm action. Again, earlier in the week, we had a 7-day pretty dry, and, things just sometimes have a way of shifting around here. It's getting so warm here. The models are now bubbling up some moisture here in the overall meteorological patterns. So just got to be really cognizant of that here as we're updating the very best I can. I'm updating the best I can here as a reminder, guys, of the coverage map. I know, let me get some other graphics on in here. Let me get some things shifted around. Again, we've been on since that 2 o'clock hour with our severe coverage. So just shifting some things around on the fly here, even some of our heat forecasts. So, I mean, before the storms come in tomorrow, let's go ahead and see what it's going to look like with our heat risk here. For that Thursday. That's not what you want to see. I mean, that's an extreme risk there as we're looking to a lot of our zones. This is going to be really dangerous out there as we get those heat index values up there in the overall scenario as they really increase on us here. You see well into those triple digits, maybe past 110 at points. And then on Friday, I see we're going to do the same thing again towards some of our different zones as well. So not fun. Just don't forget anyone in a hot car here as everyone operates on autopilot. Once in a while, have a plan, place a bag or the item in the back seat to remind you of passengers after you park. Place a stuffed animal in the front seat as a reminder to check for passengers and consider additional methods such as phone alarms, partner buddy check-ins, or a built-in car reminder system. And then for heat safety when working, drink a cup of water every 20 minutes, even if you're not thirsty. For long jobs, drink a beverage with electrolytes, take regular breaks to rest. During hot conditions, skipping breaks is not safe, and seek periodic breaks in the AC if possible. So to spend time in the shade when outdoors, and then you see we're still going to be above average even past our 7-day period, really. As we look later into the month, way above average in general. I mean, the average has dropped some, but we're still going to be way up there in the overall storyline. So that's not what you want to see, obviously, here with the overall situation. It's just definitely going to be oppressive out there, feeling for sure, as we look at the overall meteorology. So let's go back to our warning, though. Right now, Gilchrist and Alachua, our severe thunderstorm warning in play. Looking at some of our different scans here. I mean, seeing some pretty strong winds in here. Gonna go to some of our different roads in this zone. Northeast 30th Street, Northeast 30th, Street further over, but then Northeast 21st Place. You see 50 miles an hour, 53 miles an hour, 56 miles an hour. That might be enough to keep the warning going past 6 o'clock. Then we'll just have to wait and see as eventually, there's no Newberry there, and Trenton could be involved with our, next warning maybe. We shall see if that has to be required. I still got some stuff catching my eye way in the northern part of our area there. Granted, the wind mode off of it, us is not showing a lot with it, but a lot of lightning there toward parts of Pierce County there, north of Blackshear especially. So let's just keep you up to date, though. I mean, some of the stuff in Taylor and Lafayette looks pretty nasty here as well. 43 and 29. And then you see in north parts of Gilchrist County, 6 o'clock is when this goes away. 48 here. Scans will go up, they'll go down a little. That boundary here in the vicinity, we'll have to see. I mean, the lightning count has gone down some, so hopefully that's suggestive of some weakening, but we'll see. Let's go to outages. Toward Columbia, there are some. Grady's a pretty noteworthy percentage out right now in Georgia. As we keep you informed, the temperature, some spots have really cooled down, but not everybody. As we look, I mean, 96 still in Tallahassee, but a lot cooler further up to the north and east here. Even our central zones, around Stark where I'm at. Just whenever thunder roars, you need to go indoors. I know when we were coming on earlier, we were really concerned about that lightning threat right there at school dismissal time. We had like 1,000 strikes in a 15-minute period in our area. So very significant in terms of that. Even, just disregarding, wind hazard that triggers a severe thunderstorm warning. The lightning just can be so dangerous here, that many in our area, that many strikes in a 15-minute period. Any of them being cloud to ground can be deadly. Cloud to cloud, not so much necessarily, but, that's, something the cloud to ground strikes we got to be really cognizant of. Those feels like temperatures here, those heat index values well into the triple digits towards some spots, but some areas rain cooled, storm cooled there, but 108, what it feels like toward Dixie County there around Cross City, 104 toward Leon County around Tallahassee right now. What that looks like a little bit of, and let me see what radar this is, Jacksonville. Looks like a little rotation, just a little bit on that edge there. Not much, I mean, just wanted to check it though. Let me check on our radar view. Yeah, a little bit north of Newberry. That's why there's a tornado possible tag. Stuff like that in there, right? It's around the Hale area. As we keep you up to date. So again, just trying to keep you informed. I'll remind you guys of our covered area here. 38 counties, just trying to keep you up to date on everything the best we can. Just trying to be here for you, for the viewer at home, as we look at how everything's set up meteorologically. I'm going to go through HRRR again, because I know it's not doing a great job for tonight, but I want to show it to you for tomorrow as well. I mean, take it with a grain of salt, because it's not handling things well for tonight, but as we get into tomorrow, you'll be able to see here, some of this bubbling on up here later afternoon to the evening. Not as much coverage as today, but remember, we didn't even have a marginal risk last night for today, and we've been with you for over 3 hours for warnings. So this is how things are sometimes during summertime, though. It's just really, difficult to see. And then the models will kind of switch some stuff around on us here. And I mean, models were starting to pick up on a Monday night, to be honest, though. The HRRR is picking up on a Monday night. That's why I kept having to update rain chance for today, all the way, into the app there to 50% after starting off at a quite a bit lower number. But again, just trying to update you the best we can here. Going between some of our different modes. We'll see that 7-day again. Again, those hot temperatures, those heat index values will under the triple digit to be the problem here as we look ahead and toward the timeline. We just got to be very cognizant of that. We just have to be very cognizant of that with the overall situation. Just trying to update you here the best I can on things. Just trying to be here for you, the viewer at home. Let me see if we have any new updates here. Going through everything. Okay, they're gonna expire the warning at 6 o'clock, so we'll go back to the radar. Let me go ahead and do that here. They're gonna expire this warning here. Still some echoes still up that are pretty strong, but they're saying the severe thunderstorm warning for Gilchrist and West Central Alachua counties will expire at 6 p.m. The storm, is really weakened below severe limits, no longer pose an immediate threat to life or property. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. However, gusty winds and heavy rainfall are still possible with thunderstorms. So at least we're seeing some weakening here. And let's try something. We'll go into our 3D mode. I know there's some different ways we can do this here. I still got to kind of work with this a little bit more. Still pretty new using this system. Just kind of, really the last couple months having to be, day by day thrown into the fire with these afternoon storms. Having to be on with you. So once things quiet down, I'll be able to, do some more practice and experimenting here with our system, to be completely honest. But as we go ahead and look here, you can see how things are getting up there, well into the higher ranges, 30,000 feet plus here. But you see how it looks like we might have seen some weakening. I mean, we're looking further away on the radar, but you can kind of see the trends here in general as we're watching things to this mode of our technology. See how that lightning, though, that's telling a story, but again, just trying to update the best I can. That warning's about to go away here soon. Let me see if there's any more questions, comments. Gonna go to the other computer source. Okay, AJ's wondering if anything's expected toward Tallahassee there. Let me go ahead. I know we do have a storm west of town. We have some stuff actually kind of coming in now there. Off from the north. Let's see how this is kind of shaping up. I mean, it's so warm there. You got to think we're going to end up getting some stuff in toward Tallahassee here as we look ahead over the next little bit, because there's still some instability. Granted, there's a boundary coming through. I've got to wonder, if that's knocking the temperature down some, maybe you don't have to worry as much, but just have an idea here. It's still probably so warm. You're still probably going to get something there toward Tallahassee and toward Leon County as we're looking at the overall situation. Let me loop this a little bit further back. I mean, it's moving pretty slow, but seems like we're getting a development along that line that's eventually going to push in toward Leon County, I would think, there in Tallahassee. So let me go over to Futurecast. I mean, it kind of shows it, but it's not doing a great job with things overall. Let's go to a different mode I have in here. We have our Nowcast. I don't use it much, but it may kind of help us out a little bit here. That's going to be the next 2 hours. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Kind of wish I didn't use it, because I think it's going to develop. It's going to do a lot better when we have squall lines, and it doesn't do good at all with this stuff, to be honest. So I think it's going to develop more, and that's just kind of seeing what the current radar is and looping it out versus doing any development. But with squall lines, that'll be a lot more, helpful, in terms of using it then. Maybe even tropical systems, but I would think at least squall lines. As we go ahead and look at things here, 47 miles an hour, 41, and the warning's going away there. Here at 6, you see some stuff in Lafayette, but yeah, Tallahassee probably have some storms eventually, as what I would think here, just based on the trends. Again, that may be some cool air coming in, being pushed out by the storms to the east, but I think you at least get some rain there in North Tallahassee. I mean, let's see what the last temperature reading was there. Granted, that's the west side of town. It's still going to say 95 there at the airport, but let me check my other system here. I'm going to check some readings, some temperature readings. They were at 96 there. So they dropped a little bit, but and then Quincy, they were at 95. They're down to 91. So I think we should at least get some storm action there on Tallahassee. If that's what I would lean toward here. At this point, eventually they're going to get some stuff on in there. It's just the models aren't handling things great, so it's kind of hard to just, talk about it on the fly there as we're looking at things meteorologically. But again, just trying to update the best I can. Trying to be here for you. Trying to be here for you for sure. That stuff around Bainbridge there looks like it's getting a little bit more feisty. Let's go ahead and get back on in here. Not too much wind energy around there, though. That's good. But north here, we got 36 miles an hour. That's not overwhelming, but some of the stuff I've been watching that's trying to get going. Maybe toward Tallahassee later. No advisory yet, but it might be close to getting one. As we look at the overall trends. Again, just watching things for our area. We don't have any formal warnings anymore. We're past our 5:30 slot. Kind of went over them. Most of the stuff we normally went over. Some of it we talked about tropics a little earlier on. We didn't go over the Pacific stuff. I may try to go over something in the Pacific here in a moment. As we kind of try to update the very best I can. You do want to talk about solar eclipse stuff. I have a graphic in here for that. So we're talking about, 19 years from today, weather permitting, if we're able to see it. I mean, the sky will get dark anyway, but, we're going to have totality here of a solar eclipse for Tallahassee, for areas there on Thomasville, here in Stark, Gainesville, Cedar Key, all getting that. Some of it, on Cedar Key is going to be pretty lengthy. I think it's been a little while since I looked at the length for Cedar Key. I thought it was like 5 minutes, 6 minutes or something, maybe a totality down there. So I think it's 2 or 3 minutes here around Stark, if I can remember right off the top of my head, but something like that here. Jacksonville's not going to quite be in totality. They'll have partial to be more than that. But you have to have the glasses to be able to see it from Jacksonville. But there was one today, that impacted, parts of the world here per se. It was total for some areas, but in the U.S., it was only a partial for, areas further north, not around here. You couldn't see it around here anywhere close. And there was only with glasses toward the northeast and Alaska, some areas in, that realm there geographically. So 19 years from today, the countdown's on here. I honestly, I would say I'm looking forward to it, but that's a little too long to look ahead. I mean, I'm 32 now. I'd be 51, and we don't want to look ahead that far. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and get back on over toward our map. So as we're looking at the information, that stuff around Tallahassee looking like it is starting north of town, starting to get going a little bit more now with the overall picture. So nothing imminent. So I think we'll probably wrap this stream up here soon. I mean, I don't think anything's imminent. You never know. I mean, because it might not take a lot. With the burst of wind energy, potential swing up on radar to get another warning, but I don't really see anything imminent. Of course, you have the interactive radar on cloudweather.com. You have the cloudweather apps there. I mean, it's one app, but it's available in Google Play, listed as Clouds Weather, and the Apple App Store listed as KC Cloud Weather. So again, just trying to update the very best I can on the overall scenario. You see here, southeast toward some lightning there on Blackshear. Again, lightning here toward Gilchrist County, still strong, but no longer warned, which is some great news. Let's go ahead and pull up temperatures. Again, that heat's going to be a big story as we look ahead there. Those hot temperatures, those high heat index values, well into the triple digits. That's something to really take note of here. I mean, even now, they're getting pretty high up there. Let's say it feels like temperatures now. As we keep you informed the best we can. I mean, look at Thomasville, though, with all that storm accident around there. It's like, maybe a little bit of a breeze in there. It's like taken as a windshield. It feels like 64 there in Thomasville right now, but it's 102 is what it feels like in Tallahassee, 101 in Cedar Key, 108 in Cross City there, as we're looking at the maps. So definitely interesting to look at here on the board, some of the different data points. Definitely interesting to look at. I'm going to go back to infrared satellite. You see how things kind of bubbled up from the remnant of Axon that was coming at us from, like it was southern Tennessee last night. You can't see all of it on here, but it was fading. But then we got, a new development here along that remnant there. Because you got all that daytime heating, that, moisture there, just things bubbling back on up here with the overall meteorology. So, again, just going to be watching that heat here ahead in the timeline. Drink plenty of water. Wear light color, loose-fitting clothes. If we need to pop back in tonight for severe weather, we will. I'm going to check questions, comments again on other source. Again, Tallahassee definitely probably going to have some stuff coming on in, as I was alluding to here. Just been starting to talk about that for the last few minutes. Just warning to watch for that. We definitely could get some more warnings, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's enough to keep the radar streaming right now since they've been on for so long. Just kind of reset things. I mean, we have the interactive radar, we have the app available in Google Play and the Apple App Store. You can send damaged photos in if it's safe, even to that there, the cloud of their app. So that's helpful, obviously, as we're looking at the overall scenario. Just trying to be here for you the best I can as things evolve in the Weather Center. Just looking at some of our different tools here in the toolkit as we have different developments here on Doppler. Just trying to update you the very best I can, but again, I'll be back if warranted. Still quite a bit of lightning, still over 450 strikes in this frame over the last 15 minutes. So whenever thunder roars, you need to go indoors here, obviously. If you hear that rumble of thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. So got to be taking that into consideration, obviously, here as we look at the overall information. So, but again, that's going to wrap it on up, I think, for now. Just be careful with the heat. Watch out for the storms. I'll be back here if and as warranted. Appreciate your viewership here on this Wednesday. Real quick, let me check power outage numbers just for Gilchrist, County's sake here. See if we have any updated information in over there. Okay, we do have a few now showing up in there. 100, that's nothing too crazy, but it might, change here. Might get more in as the situation, is a little bit further past. We're able to get some of that data points into the computer system. So if I need to be back on, I will. Otherwise, enjoy your night. Enjoy things the best you can. Stay safe out there. Stay cool. Stay safe from these storms as well. Right now, strong action, but not severe. But if we get more warnings, more yellow boxes, I'll be back on with the very latest if we have some more severe thunderstorm warnings. Just enjoy things the best you can out there as we're looking across the 38 counties.